Chapter 2142. Under Mo Qingyun's aura, Ting Chai's body trembled visibly, showing signs of fear. He was well aware of Mo Qingyun's strength. He was definitely not someone he could fight against. Under Mo Qingyun's full power, he could not even take one blow from Mo Qingyun. With regards to Ting Sha's terrified expression, Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to it. Instead, he turned his head to look at Chen Huangyi and said, "Sect leader Chen, I will give you an answer now. Tell me if Chen Lin and the other person were killed by him." Demonic eye seizes soul. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and a terrifying soul power erupted from his body. When this soul power erupted, it condensed into a huge eyeball that emitted a dazzling light. This light burst out and enveloped Ting Chai, tearing at her soul. Demonic eye seizes soul. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, Ting Chai immediately recognized this remarkable ability and knew what Mo Qingyun was going to do. She panicked and said, "Mo Qingyun, don't you think you can get the cause of Chen Lin and her companion's death from me?" Before Ting Chai could finish speaking, a small figure appeared on top of his head. This was Ting Chai's primordial spirit being pulled out. Seeing Ting Chai's primordial spirit being forcefully pulled out, Chen Huangyi's expression trembled and his eyes were filled with shock. With Ting Chai's cultivation at the peak of the initial stage of the Saint Plane, she could not resist Mo Qingyun's attack at all. Mr. Mo's strength has reached such a level. Only at this moment did Chen Huangyi truly experience how formidable Mo Qingyun's strength was. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Chen Huangyi finally understood why the Blood Corpse Demon Sect and the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion were destroyed. Immediately, he felt a sense of relief. Fortunately, he did not take the risk to seek revenge on Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. He would not have the slightest chance of survival. When Ting Chai's primordial spirit was torn out, she showed a painful and panicked expression and shouted, "Commander Zirong, please hurry up and save me." However, before Ting Chai could finish her words, his consciousness blurred and he began to narrate some of his actions. Seeing Ting Chai's performance, Chen Huangyi's expression became dignified, mixed with some tension. At this moment, the answer to whether Ting Chai had killed Chen Lin and Chen Lin was about to be revealed. After a short while, Ting Chai, under everyone's gaze, recounted his actions of killing Chen Lin and the other person without missing a single detail. "Ting Chai, it's really you." Hearing the explanation from Ting Chai's primordial spirit, Chen Huangyi immediately roared and charged towards Ting Sha. Seeing that Chen Huangyi had attacked Ting Chai, Mo Qingyun removed his control over Ting Chai's soul. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, letting Ting Chai die without feeling anything was letting him off too lightly. He wanted Ting Chai to feel the feeling of death slowly approaching. He wanted him to die in the torture of his soul. Although Mo Qingyun had removed his control over Ting Chai's primordial spirit, he did not release his saint energy to give him the ability to resist. Then, Ting Chai, like a wooden puppet, stood rooted to the ground in a daze, allowing Chen Huangyi's palm to close in on her. Sect leader, please listen to my explanation." Seeing Chen Huangyi's palm closing in on her, Ting Chai's face was filled with fear and she hurriedly begged Chen Huangyi. However, Chen Huangyi chose to ignore her pleas. He could not wait to tear Ting Chai into pieces. Bam! Then, Chen Huangyi's palm landed on Ting Chai's chest and sent her flying. After receiving Chen Huangyi's full force palm, Chen Huangyi immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. After being severely injured by Chen Huangyi's palm, Ting Chai's expression became even more flustered. She begged Zirong again, "Commander Zirong, I'm the ancestor of the Ting lineage of the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. As long as you promise to save my life, I'm willing to help you take over the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan." Seeing Ting Chai's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He said angrily, Ting Chai, you're so afraid of death that you're even willing to give up the inheritance of your ancestors just to save your own life. The inheritance of my ancestors? What a joke. If I don't even have my life, why would I still want the inheritance of my ancestors? Ting Chai did not care about Emo Qingyun's angry rebuke. She laughed maniacally and said, "Moreover, the person who makes the decisions in the Heavenly Soul Demon clan is not my Ting lineage. Why would I care about the inheritance of my ancestors?" Ting Chai's expression darkened even more when she said that. She said maniacally, "With the hatred between us, how can you tolerate my Ting lineage once you return to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan? Since I'm going to die either way, why should I think so much? What a crazy idea." Chen Huangyi could not help but shake his head when he heard Ting Chai's word. He understood that the two of them had been implicated. With Ting Chai's crazy personality, it was not strange for her to try to kill the two of them. "Fellow Ting Chai, a wise man submits to circumstances. That's right for people like you." Compared to Emo Qingyun's anger, Zirong smiled proudly. He praised Ting Chai and said, "Don't worry. Once my light envelopes the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, you'll be in charge of everything in the Heavenly Soul Demon clan in the future. Thank you for your support, Commander Zirong. I'll definitely do my best to serve you." Ting Chai was pleasantly surprised when she heard Zirong's words. She pointed at Emo Qingyun and said, "Commander Zirong, I have another important piece of news to report. Emo Qingyun has a supreme treasure from the outer world, the Gate of Destinies." The Gate of Destinies. Zirong and the others were stunned when they heard Ting Chai's words. Their faces were filled with shock. They had also heard of the rumors regarding the Gate of Destinies and knew how precious it was. It was said that the origin of this supreme treasure was related to a two-star realm. It was a huge secret. Soon after, the way Zirong and the others looked at Emo Qingyun changed drastically. After reporting to Zirong that Emo Qingyun had the Gate of Destinies, Ting Chai smiled coldly and said, "Emo Qingyun, it won't be easy for you to kill me." Emo Qingyun was calm in the face of Ting Chai's arrogance. He said indifferently, "Ting Chai, you're too naive if you think that these people can protect your life." Ting Chai's smile widened when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. She said proudly, "Emo Qingyun, I know that you're powerful. However, I have to tell you that we've set up a great formation around you. We're waiting for you to walk right into our trap." Ting Chai revealed a maniacal smile after she finished speaking. It was as if she was certain that Emo Qingyun would die. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly when he heard Ting Chai's words. He said, "Isn't it just the Raging Flame Dragon Sacred Formation? An ordinary intermediate offensive sacred formation can't do anything to me." Ting Chai and the others trembled when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They couldn't think of a single possibility. Chapter 2143. Chen Huangyi, how dare you collude with Emo Qingyun? You're such a despicable person. Ting Chai shouted angrily at Chen Huangyi. She guessed that Chen Huangyi must have told Emo Qingyun about the array. Hearing Ting Chai's words, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of disdain and ridiculed. "When it comes to being despicable, shameless, insidious, and cunning, who among these people can compare to you, Ting Chai?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Ting Chai was so angry that she was at a loss for words. Her body trembled with anger. Ting Chai immediately shut her mouth and did not argue with Emo Qingyun. She knew that she could not win against Emo Qingyun. Of course, the real reason why Ting Chai kept her mouth shut was that she did not dare to anger Emo Qingyun and cause Emo Qingyun to kill her at all costs. With Emo Qingyun's powerful strength, if he wanted to kill someone at all costs, no one could stop him. Boy, so what if you recognize the array? Do you think you can escape? Zirong didn't care too much about Emo Qingyun recognizing the array formation, and spoke disdainfully. In his opinion, since Emo Qingyun had entered the array, it was impossible for him to leave. After Zirong finished speaking, he nodded at an elder and said, "Master Wenyu, Activate the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array immediately and show him the power of the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array. Okay. Hearing Zirong's order, Master Wen Yu immediately responded and activated the Raging Flame Dragon Holy Formation. Following that, balls of intimidating fireballs appeared all around the square. When these fireballs appeared, they turned into small fire dragons and danced around the square. Seeing the fire dragons flying around, Chen Huangyi's expression turned serious. He stood beside Mo Qingyun in a panic. Sect Leader Chen, don't worry. Seeing Chen Huangyi's panicked expression, Mo Qingyun comforted him and said, sometimes, even if you set up the array, you may not be able to control it. It may become someone else's weapon. Chen Huangyi did not understand the array Dao, so he did not feel much when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. However, Master Wen Yu was different. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, his face darkened and he said angrily, boy, from what you're saying, it seems like you want to take control of the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array from my hands. Naturally, Master Wen Yu did not think that Mo Qingyun do it. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's words were just a form of humiliation. We'll know if I can do it or not. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately began to draw Saint Runes. Once the Saint Runes were formed, they emitted powerful array energy and flew into the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array. When the Saint Runes entered the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array, they instantly assimilated some of the array runes and cut off Master Wen Yu's control. Seeing this, Master Wen Yu was shocked and said in shock, You're actually an intermediate Saint Array Master? Master Wen Yu knew very well that if Mo Qingyun was not an intermediate Saint Array Master, it would be impossible for him to do this. Hearing Master Wen Yu's words, everyone was stunned. They could not believe what they had just heard. What? Mo Qingyun knows Array Dao? Moreover, his attainments in Array Dao are so high. His attainments in Array Dao have reached the level of an intermediate Saint Array Master. How did he do it? Not good. Mo Qingyun wants to take control of the Flaming Dragon's Sacred Array. We must stop him immediately. What kind of monster is this boy? How can his talent be so terrifying? Seeing Mo Qingyun's shocking actions, Zirong and the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately moved to stop Mo Qingyun. Seeing Zirong and the others move, Mo Qingyun sneered and said, It seems a little too late to stop me now. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he waved his right hand and summoned the people of Thousand Language Manor and Gold Punishment Palace to help him block Zirong's attack. Soon, waves of powerful auras were emitted from Mo Qingyun's body. Sensing these auras, Zirong and the others' faces twitched. Panic appeared on their faces. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun would come to the Bloodsword sect with so many Saint Stage experts. This unforeseen event caught them off guard. They were not prepared for it. What a powerful lineup! Seeing the troops that Mo Qingyun had summoned, Chen Huangyi's eyes widened. He was so shocked that he could not speak for a long time. In just a short period of time, the shock that Mo Qingyun gave him grew stronger and stronger, to the point that he almost couldn't accept it. King Devourer and the others were summoned. They immediately blocked Zirong and the others and fought with them. Qian Linglong and the sky-devouring mermaid queen fought against Zirong and Zitong. They were locked in a fierce battle. Without the threat of Zitong and King Devourer, Jinrenhe and the others had no pressure. They instantly suppressed the rest of the Dark Devil clan. It could not be helped. The combined battle strength of Thousand Language Manor, Gold Punishment Palace, and Udihai was equivalent to double that of the Dark Devil clan. With such a great disparity in battle strength, it was difficult for Jinrenhe and the others not to suppress their opponents. Seeing that no one went to stop Mo Qingyun, Master Wen Yu's expression turned grave. He said coldly, Kid, even if you have the attainments of a medium Saint Array Master, it will not be easy for you to take control of the Raging Flame Dragon's Sacred Array from me. Take control? Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He shook his head and said, "There's no need to go through so much trouble. Once I kill you, I can easily take control of the array." Master Wenyue's face twitched when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. Fear appeared on his face. He said, "As a formation master, you choose to use force when fighting with another formation master. Do you still have the integrity of a formation master?" "Sorry, other than being a formation master, I am also an alchemist and a weapon refiner. So, these rules are useless to me." Mo Qingyun smiled at Master Wenyue's words. He did not take it to heart at all. Master Wenyue almost burst into tears when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. This was too much of a bully. Ignoring Master Wenyue's feelings, Mo Qingyun waved his hand and summoned Xue Long and Yin Peng. He said, "I have already taken control of a portion of the Raging Flame Dragon Sacred Array. Quickly take control of the other portions." "Yes, Master." Xue Long and Yin Peng immediately responded and began to refine the Raging Flame Dragon Sacred Array after hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions. Master Wenyue's eyes widened in disbelief when he saw Xue Long and Yin Peng appear. He could not believe that the two Saint Array Masters he was familiar with had become Mo Qingyun's subordinates. Chapter 2144. Of course, what troubled Master Wenyue the most was Xue Long and Yin Peng's attainments in formations. If Xue Long and Yin Peng joined forces and fought for control of the Raging Flame Dragon Sacred Formation, he really wouldn't be able to stop them. Moreover, Mo Qingyun had freed up his hands. It was clear that he wanted to kill him. It could be said that he had fallen into a desperate situation. "Sacred Formation Master Xue Long, Sacred Formation Master Yin Peng, I didn't expect to meet the two of you here." Looking at Xue Long and Xue Yu, Grandmaster Wenyue's face was filled with shock as he greeted them. Xue Long and Yin Peng were stunned when they heard Master Wenyue's words. They turned to look at Master Wenyue. "So it's Master Wenyue. Long time no see. I didn't expect that we would meet again under such circumstances." Xue Long and Yin Peng immediately recognized Master Wenyue when they saw him and greeted him. There were limited Sacred Formation Masters on the Wasteland continent. It was normal for Xue Long and Yin Peng to know Master Wenyue. Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to make a move when he saw Xue Long and Yin Peng knew Master Wenyue. He planned to wait and see first. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Xue Long and Yin Peng, Master Yin Peng was puzzled. He asked, "Master Xue Long, Master Yin Peng, with your status, why did you acknowledge him as your master?" Xue Long rolled his eyes when he heard Master Wenyue's question. A crafty look appeared on his face. He said, "Master Wenyue, you don't know. Master is a man of great talent and vision. He's a rare master. Acknowledging him as our master is the wisest choice." Hearing Xue Long's words, Yin Peng immediately understood what Xue Long was thinking. He added, "Grandmaster Wenyu, you and I can be considered acquaintances. I have a word of advice for you. The Dark Devil race has committed a lot of unjust deeds, slaughtering countless lives on the savage continent. You can't help the evildoers. I advise you to abandon the darkness and seek the light." Master Wenyue's expression became complicated when he heard Yin Peng and Yin Peng's words. He fell silent. He knew what Yin Peng and Yin Peng were saying, but he had no choice. Seeing that Wenyu had gone silent, Xue Long and Xue Long exchanged glances and tried to persuade Wenyu, "Grandmaster Wenyu, in this old man's opinion, why don't you just submit to Master? You should be able to see your current situation. If you don't submit to Master, you can only nurse a grievance here." Hearing Xue Long's words, Wenyue's expression immediately changed and her heart unconsciously thumped. What Xue Long said was true. If Mo Qingyun made a move against him, he would definitely be killed immediately. When she thought of this, Wenyue's expression tensed up and a sense of panic rose in her heart. What to do? Did he really have to submit to Mo Qingyun? At this moment, Master Wenyue's heart was in a mess. His mind was rapidly weighing the pros and cons. Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he saw Wen Yue's expression changing. He said impatiently, Grandmaster Wen Yue, since Shuelong and the others have pleaded for you, I'll give you 3 breaths of time to consider. I hope you've thought it through. To Mo Qingyun, it would be best if Wen Yue was tactful enough to submit. Otherwise, he would not be courteous. More importantly, both sides were in the middle of a battle. Mo Qingyun did not have the time to waste with him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wen Yue's body trembled. Her expression became even more panicked. She could tell that Mo Qingyun was not joking with her. Mo Qingyun would really kill her. Seeing Mo Qingyun getting closer and closer, Wen Yue's face became paler and paler. She said in a panic, young master, please show mercy. This old man is willing to submit to you. Under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's aura, Grandmaster Wen Yu finally chose to submit. Very good. Seeing Grandmaster Wen Yu's decision, Mo Qingyun smiled with satisfaction and instructed, all right, release your mind and let me brand your soul. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's command, Wen Yue did not dare to refute. She immediately released her mind. Following which, Mo Qingyun planted a soul brand in Wen Yue's soul. The 3 of you, activate the formation and attack the dark devil race. After subduing Wen Yue, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more words and immediately ordered the 3 of them. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his figure flashed and charged toward Zirong. He smiled and said, Commander Zirong, it seems like my words were not wrong. Sometimes, even if you set up a formation, it might not be your own weapon. While Mo Qingyun was speaking, Shuelong and the other 2 were controlling the formation and attacking the dark devil race. Seeing this scene, Zirong's expression changed greatly. He looked at Wen Yue in anger and berated, Wen Yue, you actually betrayed my clan. Have you thought of the consequences of doing so? Grandmaster Wen Yu chose to ignore Zirong's berating. It was as if she did not hear him at all. Consequences? He could not even keep his life, so what was the point of thinking about the consequences? Moreover, he was forced to work for the dark devil race. It was not his true intention. Now that he could use this opportunity to escape, it could not be better. What was there to think about? Seeing that Wen Yue was ignoring him, Zirong became even more furious. He released an intense killing intent and shouted, Traitor, you're courting death. As Zirong's words fell, his figure moved and he was prepared to attack Wen Yue. Seeing Zirong's actions, a cold smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face and he chased after Zirong. Mo Qingyun's figure moved and blocked Zirong's path. He smiled faintly and said, Commander Zirong, didn't you come here to kill me? Why are you attacking someone else now? Mo Qingyun, don't be conceited. You can't escape from my clan. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zirong's face darkened and he said furiously. As Zirong's words fell, he did not hesitate and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Zirong was attacking him, not only did Mo Qingyun not care, he even said to Qian Linglong who was beside him, Linglong, leave this guy to me. You go and help the King Devourer. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong nodded and went to help the King Devourer. The King Devourer had just broken through to the advanced sage realm, so it was still a little difficult for him to deal with Zitong, who was at the advanced sage realm. As for Jin Renhe and the others, they did not feel any pressure at all. Originally, their combat strength was much stronger than the Dark Devil race. Now that they had the help of Wen Yue and the other 2, it was even easier for them. Not only that, with the help of Wen Yue and the other 2, they had already killed a few experts from the Dark Devil race. At this rate, it would not be long before all the experts from the Dark Devil race were killed. Seeing that his men were being killed continuously, Zirong's face turned ugly and he realized that something was wrong. If this continued, they would not be able to kill Mo Qingyun. They might even be wiped out here. Chapter 2145. You're already at the end of your rope. Just accept your death. Emo Qingyun looked down at Zi Rong from above, fully displaying the demeanor of an emperor. Emo Qingyun waved his arm and 81 ancient swords appeared, forming an imposing sword array. Once the sword array was formed, the 81 ancient swords rushed towards Zi Rong like dragons emerging from the sea. Facing the onslaught of the 81 ancient swords, Zi Rong immediately panicked and used all his strength to block the ancient swords. Fire of Civilization, Emperor's Seal, Spiritual Eyes. While controlling the sword array to attack Zi Rong, Emo Qingyun's left eye flashed red and a Flame Soul Seal shot out. The Flame Soul Seal flew out from his eye and disappeared in a flash, instantly entering Zi Rong's sea of consciousness. Ah! This is the fire of civilization. Zi Rong immediately screamed after being attacked by the Emperor's Seal Spiritual Eyes. His face turned pale. Immediately after, his aura weakened. Obviously, he was heavily injured by Emo Qingyun's attack. The moment Zi Rong's miserable cry came out, it attracted the attention of the surrounding people, startling all of them quite badly. Mr. Mo's strength is really unfathomable. Seeing Emo Qingyun heavily injuring Zi Rong, Chen Huangyi could not help but sigh. A bitter smile appeared on his face as he said, "Back then, I actually wanted to recruit him into the Bloodsword sect. I really did not recognize Mount Tai." Thinking of the Bloodsword sect's strength and then looking at Emo Qingyun's battle strength, Chen Huangyi felt a sense of irony. Ma's master is so strong. Even Zi Rong could not withstand 3 moves from him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's strength, Wen Yu immediately felt lucky. Luckily, Xue Long and Xue Sha had pleaded for him. Otherwise, if he were to fight Emo Qingyun head-on, he would be killed by Emo Qingyun for nothing. How can this be? How can his innate superpower be so strong? Seeing Emo Qingyun execute the Emperor Madras Spirit Eyes, Ting Sha's face was filled with jealousy as he gritted his teeth and roared in anger. He had also mastered the Imperial Seal Spirit Eyes, but the power he unleashed was incomparable to Emo Qingyun's. This huge contrast caused Ting Sha's heart to feel extremely uncomfortable, as if a huge rock was pressing down on it. More importantly, once Zi Rong was killed by Emo Qingyun, no one would be able to protect him. The more Ting Sha thought about it, the more afraid he became, his face paling, his expression changing as he thought to himself, "No, I cannot stay here any longer, I must think of a way to leave this place." The moment this thought appeared in Ting Sha's mind, he stealthily retreated from the battle and tried to think of a way to escape from the array. But what made Ting Sha despair was that before he could think of a solution, a mocking voice sounded out, "Ting Sha, do you think that, under such circumstances, you can still escape? Emo Qingyun, you and I do not have much enmity between us, why must you be so ruthless?" Seeing that his thoughts had been seen through, Ting Sha's face was filled with panic as he begged Emo Qingyun for mercy. "Give me a chance to turn over a new leaf, I will let the entire Ting faction serve you from today onwards, how about that? Do you think that I need the power of the Ting faction?" Hearing Ting Sha's words, Emo Qingyun's expression was one of disdain as he countered with a question, "Let me tell you clearly, the reason why I have not killed you is because it is a form of punishment for you. I want you to experience the feeling of death slowly approaching." When he heard Emo Qingyun's words, Ting Sha's body immediately trembled as a look of despair filled his face. He finally understood why no one had attacked him all this while, it was because they wanted to use this opportunity to torture him. "Emo Qingyun, you are vicious." After knowing Emo Qingyun's intentions, Ting Sha's face was filled with madness as he gnashed his teeth and stared furiously at Emo Qingyun. With regards to Ting Sha's rage, Emo Qingyun did not seem to mind at all as he said disdainfully, "In terms of viciousness, everyone here added together cannot even compare to you, Ting Sha. You had better die obediently." When he saw that Emo Qingyun dared to divert his attention to speak with Ting Sha while fighting with him, Zi Rong immediately felt a sense of humiliation. Mo Qingyun did not see through him at all. After all, he was still a sage late-stage expert. Kid, you actually dare to divert your attention while fighting with me, you are courting death. Zirong shouted angrily as his attacks became more ferocious, as if he wanted to fight to the death with Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun puckered his lips when he saw Zirong's actions, and he said, I think the one who's courting death isn't me, Mo Qingyun. It's you, Zirong. If I concentrate on dealing with you, you'll only die even faster. Since you are so eager to die, I will fulfill your wish. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his expression became serious and he stopped playing around with Zirong. Following which, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded immediately became much more ferocious. Fire of civilization, heavenly demon star-splitting palm. Mo Qingyun flipped his palm and the flames on his palm surged, emitting a terrifying heatwave. Following which, a huge flaming palm shadow blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm. Under the suppression of the flaming palm, the terrifying heatwave emitted from the palm enveloped Zirong. Under the impact of the heatwave, Zirong's clothes were instantly burnt to ashes and his body was burnt red. Feeling the pain from his body, Zirong screamed again and his face was contorted in agony. At the same time, he looked at Mo Qingyun with intense fear in his eyes. He finally understood why the Dark Demon tribe was willing to pay any price to kill Mo Qingyun. This boy was too monstrous. A mere 9-heaven Xian immortal had such terrifying combat strength. When he broke through to the Saint Realm, he would be even more powerful. At that time, it would be impossible for the Dark Demon tribe to unify the Wildland continent. Mo Qingyun alone could wipe out the entire Dark Demon tribe. It would be good enough if they could keep their lives. Just as Zirong's face was filled with fear, the huge flaming palm arrived above his head and pressed down on him with earth-shattering might. Golden Spear Iron Horse Rising Dragon Break. When he saw the flaming palm approaching, Zirong didn't dare hesitate in the slightest and immediately made a move to block this palm. Zirong clenched his fists and the gloves on his hands flashed with golden light, forming the shadow of Iron Horse. Break! Zirong shouted angrily and made a gesture of blocking the river with his iron arm. The golden light on his body suddenly surged to the extreme. Immediately, the Iron Horse shadow formed by Saint Power rushed toward the flaming palm and blocked its attack. Roar! As the Iron Horse shadow rushed forward, golden dragon shadows burst out from Zirong's body and rushed toward the flaming palm. Under the double impact of the Iron Horse shadow and the golden dragon shadow, the flaming palm was blocked and stopped in midair, unable to move an inch further. Even so, Zirong's situation was not optimistic. He was bearing the impact of the fire of civilization. Looking at Zirong, it seemed that he would not be able to hold on for long. Chapter 2146. Mo Qingyun grabbed the air and summoned the Tiger Soul. He waved his arm and slashed at Zirong. Ghost Shadow Slash. Mo Qingyun waved the Tiger Soul and released a sharp aura. A dazzling saber radiance blasted out. When the saber radiance slashed out, 9 illusions that looked like Mo Qingyun appeared around Mo Qingyun. At the same time, he slashed at Zirong with his saber. Dazzling saber radiances attacked Zirong from different directions. At that moment, Zirong was resisting the flaming palm and had no energy to dodge the ghost shadow slash. Thus, Zirong could only watch helplessly as the attacks of Mo Qingyun and the 9 doppelgangers slowly approached him. No, Zirong was unwilling to accept the attack from Mo Qingyun and the illusions. He shouted loudly. Then, Zirong's body was pierced by the saber radiance. Hideous wounds appeared on his body. As the wounds appeared, Zirong's aura began to weaken. Soon, it disappeared completely. When Zirong's aura disappeared, he fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Plop! Zirong's body fell to the ground with a deep thud. A large cloud of dust rose. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. Their expressions kept twitching. This can't be real. Commander Zirong is an expert in the Mastery Saint realm. How could he be killed by Mo Qingyun? Commander Zirong is dead. We're doomed. We're all going to die here. It's all Zirong's fault for being arrogant. If he had waited for the Cloud Sky Saint's son, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Seeing Zirong killed by Mo Qingyun, the Dark Demon tribe members had mixed feelings. Compared to the Dark Demon race, Chen Huangyi sucked in a breath of cold air. Zirong's cultivation is at the advanced stage of the Purple Rong Saint stage. He was killed by young Master Mo in just a few moves. How terrifying! At this moment, Chen Huangyi was completely convinced by Mo Qingyun. Impossible. It's only been 10 years or so, how could he have grown to this extent? Looking at the lifeless Zirong on the ground, Ting Sha's face revealed a crazed expression, unable to accept this reality. He was very clear that Zirong being killed by Mo Qingyun indicated that he would not live for long either. Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to everyone's shock. His figure flashed as he charged towards Zitong, saying, "King Devourer, Ling Long, leave this person to me. You two go deal with the others." "All right." "Yes." After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong responded and went to deal with the others. Seeing Mo Qingyun come to deal with him, Zitong's face twitched, and a strong sense of fear appeared on his face. Compared to Zirong, his strength was a level lower. Even Zirong was not Mo Qingyun's opponent, let alone Zitong. After understanding the gap between himself and Mo Qingyun, Zitong was unwilling to fight with Mo Qingyun. With a fearful expression, he said, "Mo Qingyun, the Cloud Sky Saint is at the 1,000 illusions. Don't go too far. Otherwise, the Cloud Sky Saint will not let you go. He will definitely chase you to the ends of the earth." "Ziyun Xiao?" Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously, a cold light flashing in his eyes as he said, "Even if he doesn't come to me, I will not let him go. After I kill all of you, I will go to the 1,000 Illusions' main clan to find him." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zitong's body clearly trembled. He knew that Mo Qingyun was not joking. After exchanging a few words with Zitong, Mo Qingyun no longer paid attention to him and directly attacked. Fire of Civilization, Imperial Seal killing Spiritual Eye. A terrifying flame energy condensed in Mo Qingyun's left eye, forming a flame soul seal. The flame soul seal blasted out from Mo Qingyun's left eye. In a flash, it blasted into Zitong's sea of consciousness. After being bombarded by the flame soul seal, Zitong immediately screamed and his face turned pale. At the same time, Zitong's consciousness fell into chaos as he used all his strength to resist the impact of the flame soul seal. While Zitong was resisting the impact of the flame soul seal, he was stunned on the spot as if he had been petrified. Die. Seeing Zitong's performance, Mo Qingyun did not show any mercy and directly slashed at his head. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, Zitong did not have the slightest awareness and his head was directly cut open by the tiger soul. Then, Zitong followed in Zirong's footsteps and was killed by Mo Qingyun's blade. His body fell from midair. Even Commander Zitong is dead. This time we are really dead. Seeing that Zitong was also killed, the morale of the Dark Demon clan fell. Their faces were filled with despair and their hearts were like dead ashes. Then, the fighting power displayed by the Dark Demon clan immediately fell by a lot. They were already at a disadvantage in terms of strength. Now that their morale had fallen and their fighting power was greatly reduced, their situation immediately became worse. In a short while, the Dark Demon clan was completely annihilated and only Ting Sha was left. Mo Qingyun, what do you want? Seeing that the people around him were all dead, Ting Sha's face was filled with terror as his gaze swept across Mo Qingyun and the rest. He knew very well that the reason why he was still alive was because Mo Qingyun had specially instructed him to do so. Hearing Ting Sha's question, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he replied, "What do I want? Didn't I say it very clearly before? I want you to feel death slowly approaching, and I want you to die in the torture of death." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not hesitate and immediately attacked Ting Sha. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Ting Sha was naturally not his match. In a blink of an eye, his cultivation was crippled. After crippling Ting Sha's cultivation, Mo Qingyun didn't kill him. Instead, he turned to Chen Huangyi and said, "Sect leader Chen Lin and Chen, you died because of me. Now that I'm handing Ting Sha over to you, it can be considered as me avenging them. On behalf of Lin and Yuer, I thank Mr. Mo." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chen Huangyi immediately expressed his gratitude and captured Ting Sha in his hands. From his point of view, for Mo Qingyun to be able to do this, it was already impeccable. "Ting Sha, today, I will use your blood to comfort Lin and Yuer's spirits in front of their memorial tablets." After capturing Ting Sha and bringing him in front of Chen Lin and Yuer's memorial tablets, Chen Huangyi revealed an enraged expression as he raised his hand and smashed it towards Ting Sha's head. Under Chen Huangyi's palm, Ting Sha's eyes widened as he died with a face full of fear. When Chen Huangyi killed Ting Sha, King Devourer and the rest cleaned up the battlefield and removed the Raging Flame Dragon's sacred array. "Sect leader Chen, since the matter has been settled, I should bid you farewell." Seeing that everything was settled, Mo Qingyun was not willing to stay any longer as he bid farewell to Chen Huangyi. With regards to Mo Qingyun's farewell, Chen Huangyi did not urge him to stay. Instead, he gestured for him to leave and said, "Mr. Mo, I will send you off." Chapter 2147. Since most of the Dark Demon Clan in Thousand Moon City have been eliminated, it's time to reclaim Thousand Moon City. Thinking that Zirong and the others had been killed, Mo Qingyun planned to go to Thousand Moon City and help Qian Linglong reclaim it. Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Qian Linglong's pretty face immediately lit up with joy. Her expression was filled with anticipation. If she could reclaim Thousand Moon City, her plan to reclaim the 1,000 illusions would be a step closer. When Qian Linglong thought of this, she was overjoyed. She couldn't wait any longer and said, "Qingyun, there are some roads to Thousand Moon City. Shall we go now?" Hearing Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head and smiled faintly. He said, "There's no rush to go to Thousand Moon City. Let me set up a teleportation formation in Thousand Language City first. It won't be too late to go to Thousand Moon City then." "You want to set up a teleportation formation in Thousand Language City?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Qian Linglong was shocked. She was shocked by Mo Qingyun's plan. Given the distance between Thousand Moon City and Thousand Language City, it wasn't easy to set up a teleportation formation. However, thinking of Mo Qingyun's array skills and the help of Shuelong and the other two, she felt relieved. With Mo Qingyun and the other three's array skills, it wasn't difficult to set up a teleportation formation together. After briefly explaining the matter of setting up a teleportation formation to Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun went to Thousand Language Residence. Setting up a teleportation formation wasn't a small matter. Choosing the location was very important. Thousand Language Residence was obviously the most suitable place. Previously, in the ancestral tomb of Thousand Language Residence, Mo Qingyun had set up a defensive array. That was undoubtedly the most suitable place. Back then, in the ancestral tomb of Thousand Language Residence, Mo Qingyun had this idea when he set up a powerful defensive array. Of course, before setting up a teleportation formation in the ancestral tomb of Thousand Language Residence, Mo Qingyun had to ask Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong for their thoughts. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at Thousand Language Residence and went straight to the conference hall. In the conference hall of Thousand Language Residence, "Master Qian Linglong, I've decided to set up a teleportation formation in Thousand Language Residence's ancestral tomb. You don't have any objections, right? Mo Qingyun asked Qian Yulong's opinion as he sat at the top of the meeting hall. He wanted to see his attitude. No matter what, Qian Linglong had to respect of Qian Linglong's ancestral tomb. Teleportation formation? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Qian Yulong was shocked. He knew how difficult it was to set up a teleportation array. At the same time, when he thought of Mo Qingyun's attainments in formations, he quickly felt relieved. It was to set to thousand god teleportation sect, residences' formation, teleportation great-greats ancestral tomb to do it. If Mr. Mo sets up a teleportation formation, he'll definitely focus on protecting it. Maybe he'll even set up a defensive array. Thinking of the importance of the teleportation formation, Qian Linglong's mind spun quickly. He thought to himself, if Mr. Mo sets up a defensive array, the defensive power of the ancestral tomb will definitely increase. That doesn't seem to be a bad thing. With that thought, Qian Linglong no longer had any concerns. He quickly bowed to Mo Qingyun and said, I'll listen to Mr. Mo's arrangements. I have no objections. Qian Linglong was smart. Although he was thinking about it, he knew he couldn't make the decision. He didn't want to disrespect Mo Qingyun and follow in Qian Lingjiang's footsteps. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun was only asking for his opinion out of respect. However, the person who made the decision wasn't Qian Linglong, but Mo Qingyun himself. Okay. Seeing Qian Linglong's attitude, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. He got up and walked out of the hall. If that's the case, take me to the ancestral tomb. I'll set up the teleportation formation now. Yes. Qian Linglong responded immediately after hearing Mo Qingyun's order. He led the way for Mo Qingyun. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the ancestral tomb of Qian Linglong again under Qian Linglong's lead. The ancestral tomb of Qian Linglong was very spacious. There were many empty places. Mo Qingyun chose to set up the teleportation formation. The dead should be respected. I'll set up the teleportation formation here. It's best not to disturb them. Mo Qingyun looked around the ancestral tomb. He found a place far away from the tomb to set up the teleportation formation. After choosing the location, Mo Qingyun summoned Shuelong and the other two to discuss with them about setting up the teleportation formation. Mr. Mo, we'll take our leave first. Qian Linglong and the others left when they saw Mo Qingyun and the other three's actions. They didn't want to disturb Mo Qingyun and the other three. After a while, Qian Linglong and the others left the ancestral tomb and returned to the meeting hall. Elder of Qian Linglong, take some people and wipe out some of the forces in the city. Qian Linglong returned to the hall and began to order the people to wipe out some of the forces that refused to submit. Now that Mo Qingyun had wiped out the threats of the other three forces, it was time for Qian Linglong to regain control. Qian Linglong believed that with Jinrenha's wisdom and courage, he shouldn't stop them. In a true sense, they were Qian Linglong's family. They had been the masters of Qian Linglong since the ancient times. Mo Qingyun had no idea what Qian Linglong and the others were doing. He summoned Shuelong and the other two and discussed with them about setting up the teleportation formation. Shuelong and the other two were all intermediate Saint Array masters. It wasn't difficult for them to set up a teleportation formation. It was just that the teleportation formation that Mo Qingyun wanted to set up was a little far. It would take a lot of time. However, with Mo Qingyun and the other three working together, there would be a huge increase in speed. Yin Peng, you're in charge of forming Saint Runes and building the outline of the teleportation formation. Shuelong, you're in charge of choosing materials and setting up the foundation and core of the formation. Wen Yu, you're in charge of perfecting the teleportation formation and combining the foundation, core, and Saint Runes. As for me, I'll be in charge of fixing some loopholes and finishing up. Seeing that everything was settled, Mo Qingyun instructed the other three and worked with them to set up the formation. After Mo Qingyun and the other three divided the work, he went back to his own work and focused on setting up the formation. Soon, the saint runes were formed by Yin Peng and placed in every corner of the teleportation formation. When Yin Peng placed the saint runes, Xuelong took out various materials and placed them in the spots where the saint runes were placed. Slowly, the outline of the teleportation formation appeared. It emitted a powerful wave of formation power. Seeing the outline of the teleportation formation, Wen Yu didn't stay idle. She immediately perfected the teleportation formation. As for Mo Qingyun, he fixed and perfected some of the areas that he had missed. In the following period of time, everything proceeded in an orderly manner, neither too fast nor too slow. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Chapter 2148. It's finally done. Looking at the teleportation array before him, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. He silently planned in his heart, when I reach Thousand Moon City, I will set up another teleportation array and link the two teleportation arrays together. Then, I will be able to teleport between the two cities. Mo Qingyun planned in his heart. He didn't continue to stay and walked out of the Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb. After coming out of the Thousand Words Residence's ancestral tomb, Mo Qingyun found Thousand Words Long and gathered them in the meeting hall. After a short while, not only were the people from Thousand Words Residence there, but even Jin Renhe and the rest were there. After gathering everyone, Mo Qingyun wanted to warn them again before he left. Soon, I will be heading to Thousand Moon City. Before I leave, I want to give you guys some instructions. Looking at everyone sitting in the hall, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He said in a deep voice, although Thousand Words City has stabilized, it doesn't mean that there is no need to worry. You guys still have to be careful. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Thousand Words Long and the rest nodded one after another. They knew what Mo Qingyun was referring to. Now that it was the autumn of chaos, the wild continent was very unstable. Any unforeseen event could happen. Moreover, the Dark Devil race had suffered such a huge loss. It was impossible for them to let it go just like that. Seeing the change in everyone's expression, Mo Qingyun knew what they were thinking. He continued, when I'm not in Thousand Word City, if any external forces invade, hold back your troops first. Everything will be decided when I return. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Thousand Words Long and the rest immediately responded and noted down Mo Qingyun's words. Without Mo Qingyun around, their combat strength would be greatly weakened. Holding back their troops was the best choice. After giving instructions to Thousand Words Long and the rest, Mo Qingyun didn't stay any longer and left Thousand Words Residence. After Mo Qingyun left Thousand Words Residence, he wasn't in a hurry to go to Thousand Moon City. Instead, he made a trip to the Precious Treasure Pavilion. Arriving at the Precious Treasure Pavilion, Mo Qingyun inquired about the opening of the branch and asked about the progress of the branch. Mo Qingyun praised Jing Ping and the others when he found out that the Treasure Pavilion had successfully opened for business. He was very satisfied with the result. Next, Mo Qingyun instructed Jing Ping and the others to continue opening other branches. Mo Qingyun left Thousand Language City and set off for Thousand Moon City after he finished delegating all the matters. Leaving Thousand Language City, Mo Qingyun took out the flying boat and controlled the flying boat to hasten on the journey. It took 3 days for the flying boat to reach the vicinity of Thousand Moon City. All right, let's go in. When they arrived near Thousand Moon City, Mo Qingyun put away the flying boat and walked towards the city gate with Qian Linglong. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the Thousand Moon City, he was not in a hurry to head to the Thousand Moon Prefecture. Instead, he was prepared to find an inn to stay in. It wouldn't be too late for them to head to the Thousand Moon Prefecture after they had rested for a while and took a look at the situation in Thousand Moon City. Eternal Moon Inn. Mo Qingyun walked to the inn and entered with Qian Linglong. After entering the Eternal Moon Inn, Mo Qingyun found a corner and sat down. He casually ordered some food and wine. After ordering the food and wine, Mo Qingyun listened to the conversations of the people around him, hoping to get some useful information. Have you heard? The Thousand Moon Prefecture's patriarch, Qian Yuechang, has been imprisoned by Wu Ziheng. Wu Ziheng is too ruthless. How could he treat his father-in-law like that? Isn't he afraid of being struck by lightning? If it wasn't for Qian Yuechang's nurturing, would he be where he is today? It can't be helped. He has the support of the Dark Demon tribe. He can do whatever he wants in Thousand Moon City. I heard that a few days ago, the Dark Demon tribe of Thousand Moon City went to Thousand Language City to quell the chaos. Speaking of which, the people of Thousand Language City are really powerful. They actually killed the Dark Demon tribe's expert. So what? The Dark Demon tribe is very powerful. What they did will only attract more Dark Demon tribe members. As Mo Qingyun listened, the conversations of the people around him flowed into his ears one after another. When he heard these people's words, Mo Qingyun frowned. He looked surprised and said, "It seems that the crisis Thousand Moon Prefecture is facing is worse than Thousand Language Prefecture." Although Mo Qingyun knew about Thousand Moon Prefecture's situation, he wasn't in a hurry to go there. Instead, he continued to listen to the conversations of the people around him. In his opinion, Rome wasn't built in a day. Thousand Moon Prefecture's situation wasn't something that happened in a day or two. He wanted to save Thousand Moon Prefecture, so he wasn't in a hurry. It wouldn't be too late to go there later. It seems that Thousand Moon Prefecture's Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship is tomorrow. I wonder if it will go smoothly. It is said that every time Thousand Moon Prefecture's Grand Ancestral Worship is held, the remnant spirits of their ancestors will be awakened to help the family eliminate some enemies. With Wu Ziheng's personality, he will definitely not allow Thousand Moon Prefecture to hold the Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship. Of course. What if the Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship awakens the remnant spirits of their ancestors? The conversations of the crowd entered Mo Qingyun's ears again. Thousand Moon Prefecture's Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship? When Mo Qingyun heard the conversations of the crowd, he was puzzled and curious. He turned to look at Qian Linglong. In his opinion, 1000 Illusions' Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship was to worship the ancestors of the main family. When Qian Linglong saw Mo Qingyun looking at her, she immediately understood what he meant. She smiled at Mo Qingyun and said, "Qingyun, you don't know this. 1000 Illusions' Grand Ancestral Worship is divided into the Grand Ancestral Worship and the Grand Ancestral Worship. The ordinary Grand Ancestral Worship is held once a year. The Grand Ancestral Worship is different. It will awaken the remnant spirits of the ancestors. Firstly, it will help the clan overcome its difficulties. Secondly, it will pass on the cultivation techniques of the younger generation. The Grand Ancestral Worship of Thousand Moon Prefecture is only to worship the ancestors of Thousand Moon Prefecture. It is not to worship the ancestors of the main family." I see. After listening to Qian Linglong's explanation, Mo Qingyun immediately understood the difference between the two. After understanding the situation, Mo Qingyun continued to listen to the conversations of the crowd. He wanted to familiarize himself with Thousand Moon City from them. About 2 hours later, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong finished eating. They did not continue to listen to the conversations of the crowd and returned to their room. "Qingyun, Thousand Moon Prefecture is in big trouble. Are we going over now?" Qian Linglong was a little anxious when she thought about Thousand Moon Prefecture's crisis. She wanted to go to Thousand Moon Prefecture immediately. After hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and said, If there are no accidents, that Wu Ziheng will definitely obstruct Thousand Moon Prefecture from holding the Centennial Grand Ancestral Worship. We should go over and help them. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he did not waste any more time and immediately set off for Thousand Moon Prefecture. Chapter 2149. The Eternal Moon Restaurant was not far from the Thousand Moon Mansion. It did not take long for Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong to arrive at the Thousand Moon Mansion. The mansion of the Thousand Moon Mansion was magnificent. The buildings inside gave off a sense of vicissitude. From this point of view, the Thousand Moon Mansion should have been built much earlier than the Thousand Language Mansion. At the same time, it also showed that the Thousand Moon Mansion had a stronger foundation. It was probably because of this that the Thousand Moon Mansion had the habit of worshipping their ancestors while the Thousand Language Mansion did not. When Mo Qingyun arrived outside the Thousand Moon Mansion, he took a look at the mansion and said to Qian Linglong, "Let's go in quietly. Don't disturb the people of the Thousand Moon Mansion. It won't be too late to reveal our identities after tomorrow's worshipping ceremony." "All right." Qian Linglong nodded when she heard Mo Qingyun's instructions. She agreed with his idea. After discussing with Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun looked at the mansion of the Thousand Language Mansion again to observe the mansion's mansion protective grand array. The defensive power of the Thousand Moon Mansion was much stronger than the Thousand Language Mansion. If they wanted to enter, they would have to break the mansion protective grand array. The Thousand Language Mansion's mansion protective grand array is actually a mid-level saint array. Moreover, it's one of the more advanced ones. After carefully observing the Thousand Moon Mansion's mansion protective grand array, Mo Qingyun discovered that it was extraordinary. He thought to himself, "It seems like I'll have to put in some effort to break the Thousand Moon Mansion's mansion protective grand array." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He summoned Xuelong and the other two and asked them to help him break the formation. No matter what, Xuelong and the other two were mid-level saint array masters. Their experience and vision were extraordinary. With their help, breaking the Thousand Moon Mansion's mansion protective grand array would be twice the result with half the effort. "The three of you come and take a look at how to break this saint array." When Xuelong and the other two appeared beside him, Mo Qingyun instructed them to study the Thousand Moon Mansion's mansion protective grand array. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Xuelong and the other two did not dare to hesitate. They immediately studied the Thousand Moon Mansion's mansion protective grand array. This is the Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array. Sizing up the Thousand Moon Manor's protective grand formation, Wenyue revealed an astonished expression. She recognized this formation. Hearing Wenyue's words, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised. He hurriedly asked, "Wenyue, since you've recognized this formation, do you have any methods to break it?" Under Mo Qingyun's questioning, Wenyue's brows furrowed tightly as she revealed an expression of contemplation. Seeing Wenyue's performance, Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry. He quietly waited by the side. Wenyu pondered for a moment, and a troubled expression appeared on her face. She replied, "Although the Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array is a mid-grade sacred array, its might and complexity are not inferior to a high-grade sacred array. It is a combination of a sun array and a moon array. It can absorb sunlight and moonlight, increasing the power of the array over time." After listening to Wenyue's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of the Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array. After briefly explaining it to Mo Qingyun, Wenyue's expression became even more solemn. She continued, "The Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array of Thousand Moon Manor has been set up for at least 1,000,000 years. Its might far surpasses ordinary high-grade sacred arrays. It's extremely difficult to break it." "Its might is comparable to a high-grade sacred array?" Hearing Wenyue's words, Mo Qingyun's expression became even more solemn. He quickly pondered and said, "This is troublesome. Even if we enter the Thousand Moon Manor, our safety can't be guaranteed. Mo Qingyun believed that he didn't have full confidence in protecting himself when facing the attack of a high-grade sacred array. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, Wen Yue glanced at Mo Qingyun and the other two. She said, "If the four of us combine our strength, we should be able to tear a hole in the array before it changes into a moon array. We should be able to control the sun-moon cycle sacred array. If that's the case, let's not waste any more time. Let's break the array immediately." Hearing Wen Yue's words, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately lit up. He couldn't wait and urged, "Wen Yue, you are familiar with the sun-moon cycle sacred array. The three of us will follow your lead and assist you in breaking the array." If they could control a part of the sun-moon cycle sacred array, he wouldn't have any more worries. At the very least, they could attack and retreat freely. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wen Yue immediately responded. She quickly condensed several sacred runes. When Wen Yue was making her move, Mo Qingyun swept his gaze across the surroundings. A thought appeared in his mind. Following that, Mo Qingyun began to set up an illusion array to conceal the five of them. 10 hours was too long. In order to avoid any unnecessary changes, it was best to set up an illusion array to isolate them. After a short while, Mo Qingyun finished setting up the illusion array and assisted Wen Yue in breaking the array. With the help of Mo Qingyun and the other two, the progress of breaking the array was much faster than Wen Yue had expected. 6 hours later, Mo Qingyun and the other three took control of one of the bases of the Sun-Moon Reincarnation Sacred Cycle Formation. "Alright, let's go in." Seeing that a part of the Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array was controlled by him, Mo Qingyun took the opportunity to enter the Thousand Moon Mansion. Following that, Mo Qingyun and the other four entered the Thousand Moon Mansion and appeared in a remote corner. After entering the Thousand Moon Mansion, Mo Qingyun didn't immediately search the surroundings. Instead, he said to Wen Yue and the other two, "The three of you stay here and continue to break the Sun-Moon Cycle Sacred Array. I will let the King Devourer stay behind to protect you. If you encounter any danger, don't fight it head-on. Leave the Thousand Moon Mansion first." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he summoned the sky-devouring Mermaid Queen and asked her to protect Xue Long and the other two. After explaining everything, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong explored the Thousand Moon Mansion together. As they went deeper into the Thousand Moon Mansion, Mo Qingyun discovered that the strength of the Thousand Moon Mansion was much stronger than the Thousand Language Mansion. He discovered that there were 2 late Sage Realm experts in the Thousand Moon Mansion. This greatly shocked him. Fortunately, one of them had a weak aura and his Saint Qi circulation was extremely chaotic. It seemed like he had suffered a serious injury. In addition to the 2 late Sage Realm experts, Mo Qingyun also discovered more than 10 intermediate Sage Realm experts and several early Sage Realm experts. No wonder they need Zirong and the others to guard this place. A late Sage Realm expert really can't suppress them. After walking for a while in the Thousand Moon Mansion, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh inwardly after understanding the strength of the Thousand Moon Mansion. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun became even more careful so as to not disturb them carelessly. After a short while, Mo Qingyun circled around the Thousand Moon Mansion and had a clear understanding of the Thousand Moon Mansion. He said, "All right, we have already figured out the basic situation of the Thousand Moon Mansion. Let's go to the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb." The Grand Ancestor worship was different from ordinary worship. It required the awakening of the ancestor's remnant spirit. Therefore, it was held in the ancestral tomb. Chapter 2150. The Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb was located at the back mountain of the Thousand Moon Mansion. Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong quickly arrived. The area where the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb was located was also within the range of the solar-lunar cycle sacred formation. Hence, there was no formation blocking them. When they arrived outside the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's footsteps did not stop and directly entered the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb. Just as Mo Qingyun had guessed, the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb was the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb. At this moment, a spiritual altar had already been set up in the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb. All kinds of sacrificial items were placed on top of it. Miss Z, what if Wu Ziheng finds out that we're setting up a sacrificial altar here? Uncle Hong, if we want to get rid of this traitor Wu Ziheng, we can only borrow the power of our ancestors' remnant spirit. We have to take this risk. However, if he finds out, he might kill you in a fit of rage. I'm the one who lured this ingrate here. Even if I die, I won't let him off. When Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong entered the ancestral tomb, low voices entered their ears. Hearing these people's conversation, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong's expressions changed. They immediately guessed the situation. It seemed that they were preparing the sacrificial items here in secret. However, if this was the case, it was unknown whether they could hide it from Wu Ziheng. Moreover, with Wu Ziheng's intelligence, it was not an easy task to hide from his eyes and ears. Who are you? The arrival of Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong immediately attracted the attention of Qian Yuezi and the others, causing them to reveal hostile gazes. Immediately, Qian Yuezi and the others revealed a cold expression and emitted a strong murderous intent. Judging from their appearance, they seemed to be planning to silence them and hide the matter. Seeing Qian Yuezi and the others' actions, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He knew what they were thinking. Everyone, there's no need to be nervous. The two of us came here with no ill intentions. We just want to help you. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yuezi and the others' expressions turned better, but they still released killing intent. It was as if Mo Qingyun made the slightest mistake, they would mercilessly attack and kill Mo Qingyun's two personalities. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the attitude of Qian Yuezi and the others. He smiled faintly and said, "You've set up the sacrificial altar without any concealment. You won't be able to hide it from Wu Ziheng. With his cunning personality, he will definitely send people to inspect this place." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yuezi's face visibly trembled. Her worries had been pointed out by Mo Qingyun. Qian Yuezi said coldly, "Humph. This is our business. We don't need you to interfere. If you don't want to die, then obediently surrender. Miss, if we surrender without putting up a fight, who will help you set up a concealment formation?" Mo Qingyun didn't care about Qian Yuezi's displeasure and asked with a smile. Qian Yuezi and the others were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. Looking at Mo Qingyun's attitude, it seemed like he was really here to help them. But why was Mo Qingyun doing this? In Qian Yuezi and the others' impression, he didn't seem to know Mo Qingyun or Qian Linglong. Who exactly are you people? Why are you so kind as to help us? Qian Yuezi looked at Mo Qingyun with an unfriendly gaze. She couldn't understand what was going on. Due to being oppressed by Wu Ziheng for a long time, they were already a little paranoid and didn't dare to easily trust anyone. "I can't tell you who we are yet. You will naturally know tomorrow." Mo Qingyun didn't answer Qian Yuezi's question. Instead, he raised his hand and formed a saint inscription. Qian Yuezi and the others were shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Saint inscription. He is really a saint array master. Is he really here to help us? The origins of these two people are mysterious. It's better to be careful. Did you guys notice that the woman beside him gives off a very amiable feeling? I felt it too. This is the familiarity of the bloodline. Could she also be? She is also a member of the 1000 Illusions. Qian Yuezi and the others discovered Qian Linglong's identity and had a much better impression of Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuezi. It seemed like Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuezi didn't have any ill intentions. You are also a member of the 1,000 illusions. May I know which bloodline you belong to? Qian Yuezi asked in astonishment after guessing Qian Linglong's origins through the connection of the bloodline. Qian Linglong didn't answer Qian Yuezi's question. Instead, she said calmly, "You will naturally find out about our identities tomorrow. Now go and prepare the items for the ancestral worship. Leave the rest to us." Qian Yuezi and the others were stunned when they heard Qian Linglong's words. They gritted their teeth and said, "All right, we will go and prepare for the ancestral worship. We will leave the rest to the two of you." Qian Yuezi and the others didn't waste any more time and started to prepare the items for the ancestral worship. Although Qian Yuezi and the others were busy preparing, their attention was still on Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuezi. Although Qian Linglong was a member of the same clan, they were still on guard and didn't dare to fully trust her. Mo Qingyun didn't mind Qian Yuezi and the others' reactions. He could understand how they felt. In a short while, the illusory array slowly took shape under Mo Qingyun's arrangement. As the illusory array slowly took shape, the spiritual altar and items for the ancestral worship started to dissipate bit by bit. The array is complete. He really didn't lie to us. He really came here to help us. With their help, the ancestral worship will go smoothly. The heavens are really protecting our 1,000-language mansion. They sent 2 experts to help us. Qian Yuezi and the others were pleasantly surprised when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They became excited. However, just as Qian Yuezi and the others were feeling excited, 3 black figures slowly approached them. They emitted 3 cold auras. Qian Yuezi and the others shuddered when they saw the 3 figures approaching. Their faces turned pale. Qian Yuehong, young Master Ziheng, has already made it clear that the ancestral worship is not allowed. How dare you go against his wishes? Madam, your actions will make young Master Ziheng very sad. Young Master Ziheng has said that no matter who dares to set up the ancestral worship site, they will be severely punished. Everyone, please excuse us. After the 3 of them finished speaking, they no longer hesitated and slowly walked toward Qian Yuezi and the others. Judging from their actions, it seemed like they were going to capture Qian Yuezi and the others and bring them to Wu Ziheng. As for Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuehong, they completely ignored them. Chapter 2151. Zhang Yu, Li Jin, Shi Yuhe, stop right there. Qian Yuzi's pretty face turned cold as she looked at the 3 people who were getting closer and closer. She angrily shouted at them. Zhang Yu and the others stopped when they heard Qian Yuezi's shout. They looked at Qian Yuezi calmly. They wanted to see what else Qian Yuezi could say at this point. Qian Yuezi's expression relaxed when she saw the 3 of them stop. She ordered, "You 3 leave first. I'll explain things to them. After that, I'll go with you to see Wu Ziheng and explain this matter to him." As soon as Qian Yuezi finished speaking, he turned to look at Mo Qingyun and nodded at him. Her meaning couldn't be more obvious. She was hinting to Mo Qingyun to continue setting up the array formation. Qian Yuezi was thinking that once Mo Qingyun finished setting up the formation, they would be able to start worshipping the ancestors without anyone knowing. Seeing Qian Yuezi's hint, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about it and continued to set up the array. In his opinion, since Zhang Yu and the others were here, there was no need for them to leave. No matter what, Zhang Yu and the others couldn't spread the news about Qian Yuezi and the others. Qian Yuezi didn't try to hide her actions, so Zhang Yu and the others immediately noticed when she hinted at Mo Qingyun. "Formation Master?" Zhang Yu and the others glanced at Mo Qingyun and were shocked. They knew who Mo Qingyun was. After guessing Mo Qingyun's identity, Zhang Yu's face sank when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. He scolded, "Brat, you're quite bold. You're actually helping them secretly worship the ancestors. Do you know the consequences of this? Hearing Zhang Yu's words, Mo Qingyun glanced at him and no longer paid him any attention. After that, Mo Qingyun continued to set up the spirit formation and completely ignored Zhang Yu. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Qian Yuezi and the others were stunned. They were very surprised by Mo Qingyun's actions. Of course, while they were surprised, they were also completely at ease with Mo Qingyun. Judging from Mo Qingyun's behavior, he definitely wasn't one of Wu Ziheng's men. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done this. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was ignoring him, Zhang Yu was immediately displeased. His expression turned sinister. Qian Yuezi's identity was special, so it was fine if she didn't take him seriously. However, a kid at the Nine Heavens Xian Immortal Realm actually didn't take him seriously. How could he tolerate this? Of course it was impossible. Kid, I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? Zhang Yu's face darkened, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and his body released a chilling aura. It was as though if Mo Qingyun dared to talk back to him, he wouldn't hesitate to attack and kill Mo Qingyun. When Mo Qingyun heard Zhang Yu's reprimand, he stopped what he was doing and turned to look at Zhang Yu. He said, I'm not interested in knowing who Wu Ziheng is. As for what he said, I'm even less interested in knowing. I only want to tell you to scram to the side right now and don't hinder me from setting up the formation. Qian Yuezi and the others were stunned. Their mouths were agape as they stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was like a monster in their eyes. This guy is really bold. He actually dares to speak to Zhang Yu like that. That's right. Zhang Yu is an intermediate saint stage expert. He's not an ordinary intermediate saint stage expert. It's over. Now that he's angered Zhang Yu, no one can save him. For the sake of this fellow's help, let's give him a proper burial after he dies. Seeing this scene, Qian Yuehong and the others sighed, feeling helpless about it. Zhang Yu wanted to kill Mo Qingyun, but they couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't save Mo Qingyun's life. Boy, I'm afraid you don't understand the situation. Even if you're working for Madame Z, you can't save your life. Zhang Yu sneered as he looked at Qian Yuezi and the others. It was as though he was confident that he could defeat Mo Qingyun. Noisy. Seeing Zhang Yu's behavior, Mo Qingyun showed an impatient expression and waved his hand at him. When Mo Qingyun waved his hand, a terrifying fortune energy blasted out from his palm. The power of fortune blasted out and turned into a giant palm, sending Zhang Yu flying. Puff! Under Mo Qingyun's palm, Zhang Yu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell heavily to the ground. After Zhang Yu fell to the ground, he didn't get up for a long time. It seemed like he was crippled by Mo Qingyun's palm. Qian Yuehong and the others were stunned again. Their minds couldn't process what had just happened. Damn, am I seeing things? Zhang Yu was sent flying with a single palm. To be exact, Zhang Yu was slapped to the point where he couldn't even crawl back up. So strong. His strength is so terrifying. Who is he? No wonder he ignored Zhang Yu and the others. They're not on the same level. Even Wu Ziheng's strength isn't that great. If he's willing to help us deal with Wu Ziheng, how great would that be? Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Qian Yuezi and the others were excited. Their faces were filled with anticipation. After sending Zhang Yu flying with a slap, Mo Qingyun ignored everyone else and continued to set up the illusion array. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Li Jin and Qian Yuezi looked at each other and helped Zhang Yu up. Let's go. After helping Zhang Yu up, Li Jin and Qian Yuezi decisively walked out of the ancestral tomb. They must be thinking that a wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. It wouldn't be too late to come back after finding help. In any case, Mo Qingyun and the others were here. They couldn't escape unless they didn't want to worship their ancestors. Stop. Seeing Li Jin and Qian Yuezi's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He scolded the three of them, Did I say you could leave? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Li Jin and Qian Yuezi trembled. They looked at Emo Qingyun with fear and said, "Boy, don't push your luck. This won't do you any good. If you know what's good for you, don't meddle in Thousand Moon Mansion's business." "Are you threatening me?" Hearing Li Jin's threat, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He pretended to be hesitant and said, "I'm most afraid of being threatened by others. In order to not be threatened by you, I can only deal with you." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Qian Yuezi and the others fainted. What kind of logic was this? He was afraid of being threatened and actually wanted to make a move on others. Was this reasonable? While Qian Yuezi and the others were dumbfounded, Emo Qingyun had already made his move. He charged towards Li Jin and the others. Seeing Emo Qingyun take the initiative to attack, Li Jin and Qian Yuezi immediately panicked. They wanted to abandon Zhang Yu and dodge. However, Emo Qingyun's speed was too fast. They didn't have the chance to dodge at all. Bang! Bang! Two deafening sounds rang out. Following that, Li Jin and Shi Yuho were sent flying. They fell heavily on the ground and became the same as Zhang Yu. Seeing this scene, Qian Yuezi and the others were stunned. Their emotions were complicated to the extreme. Chapter 2152. After witnessing Emo Qingyun's strength, Qian Yuzi and the others looked at Emo Qingyun with much more respect. Although Emo Qingyun's cultivation level wasn't high, the strength he possessed made people respect him. After crippling Zhang Yu and the others, Emo Qingyun quickly formed a hand seal. Once the hand seal was formed, Emo Qingyun waved his arm and pointed at Zhang Yu and the others. After the hand seal left Emo Qingyun's hand, it shone brightly and enveloped Zhang Yu and the others. The light shrouded Zhang Yu and the others and turned into chains, restricting their movements. "All right, you can continue with the arrangement." After restricting Zhang Yu and the others, Emo Qingyun waved his hand at Qian Yuzi and the others, indicating for them to continue with the arrangement. After instructing Qian Yuzi and the others, Emo Qingyun didn't delay and immediately continued with the arrangement of the illusion array. "Many thanks, young master." Seeing Emo Qingyun continue with the arrangement, Qian Yuzi and the others thanked him and went to prepare for the ancestral worship ceremony. In the following time, everything went smoothly and no one came to cause trouble. Soon after, everything proceeded in an orderly manner, and all the preparations were nearing completion. Several hours later, Emo Qingyun stopped the movement of his hands. The array formation was finally completed, and it concealed the ancestral worship site. Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and said, "With the concealment of the array, it won't be easy for Wu Ziheng to find out." After setting up the illusion array, Emo Qingyun didn't leave immediately and waited for Qian Yuzi and the others to arrive. After another hour, the ancestral worship ceremony was set up and Qian Yuzi and the others walked towards Emo Qingyun. "Young master, thank you so much this time. If you didn't come, I'm afraid," arriving in front of Emo Qingyun, Qian Yuezi had a grateful expression and slightly bowed to Emo Qingyun. When Qian Yuezi spoke, her face was filled with lingering fear. She knew very well the consequences of being discovered by Wu Ziheng. "You're welcome." Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently in response to Qian Yuezi's gratitude. "Miss Qian Yuezi, if it's convenient for you, you can tell me more about the situation in Qian Yu Mansion so that I can help you better." "All right." Qian Yuezi nodded without any hesitation when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. She made an inviting gesture and said, "Young master, this is not the place to talk. Please come with me." As soon as Qian Yuezi finished speaking, she led the way and left with Emo Qingyun and the others. "Qian Yueshan, continue to stay here. Inform us if anything goes wrong." Before leaving, Qian Yuehong instructed a middle-aged man to stay behind and check on the situation. Although Emo Qingyun's array formation was present, the Grand Ancestor worshipping was no small matter. He couldn't afford to be careless. Leaving one person behind to keep watch would allow him to deal with any unforeseen circumstances. Before long, Mo Qingyun arrived at Qian Yuehong's residence with Qian Yuezi leading the way. Because there were many eyes and ears watching her residence at all times, it was relatively safe here. "Mr. Mo, Miss Linglong, please have a seat." Qian Yuezi greeted them when they arrived at Qian Yuehong's residence and sat down with him. After the few of them sat down, Qian Yuezi didn't waste any more time and started to explain the situation in Qian Yu Mansion. The true cause of this matter started 10 years ago. Ever since the divine ancestor fell and the sacred lady left with serious injuries, the Dark Demon clan suppressed all the branches. Our Qian Yu branch wasn't spared and became one of the suppressed branches. Initially, it wasn't easy for the Dark Demon clan to control our branch. Who knew that Wu Ziheng would betray us? Wu Ziheng ambushed my father and caused him to be seriously injured. He opened the protective array and allowed the Dark Demon clan to succeed. Later, with the help of the Dark Demon clan, Wu Ziheng's cultivation base broke through to the Mastery Saint realm. Since then, Qian Yu Mansion has been under his control. Qian Yuezi's face was filled with guilt when she said this. She blamed herself for this. This was because Wu Ziheng was her husband. She was the one who lured Wu Ziheng here. I see. After listening to Qian Yuezi's explanation, Mo Qingyun and Qian Linglong nodded their heads. After understanding the situation in Qian Yu Mansion, Mo Qingyun pursed his lips and said, "When I entered Qian Yu Mansion, I sensed 2 Mastery Saint realm auras. One of them was weak and unstable. Could it be the old master of Qian Yu Mansion?" "That's right. It was my father." Qian Yuezi nodded her head, confirming Mo Qingyun's guess. After the doubt in Mo Qingyun's heart was cleared, he was puzzled again. He asked, "Logically speaking, with your father's strength, keeping him alive would be a hidden danger. With Wu Ziheng's personality, he shouldn't have done this. Why did he keep your father alive?" "Mr. Mo, there's something you don't know. There's a secret behind this." Qian Yuezi immediately explained to Mo Qingyun. Then, she began to explain to Mo Qingyun, with Wu Ziheng's ruthlessness, it's natural that he wouldn't keep us alive. The reason he did this is because we have something that can be used against him. Mo Qingyun's expression changed. A curious expression appeared on his face. He wanted to know what it was. Qian Yuezi paused for a moment before she took out a blood-red scroll and said, "This is a Blood Oath Life Scroll that Wu Ziheng made when he married into Qian Yu Mansion. It contains the oath he made. If we activate the Blood Oath Life Scroll, he'll be punished according to the Blood Oath Life Scroll." "I see." Mo Qingyun understood when he saw the blood-red scroll in Qian Yuezi's hand. However, he still didn't understand. He asked, "Since you have the Blood Oath Life Scroll, why don't you deal with Wu Ziheng and let him get away with it?" "It's not that we don't want to. It's that we don't have a choice." Qian Yuezi's expression was immediately filled with helplessness when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She said, "As Wu Ziheng's strength grew, the threat of the Blood Oath Life Scroll's punishment decreased. It wasn't enough to kill him, so we didn't dare to fight him to the death. It looks like Wu Ziheng was already prepared for this. This person's schemes are terrifying." Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh when he glanced at the punishment on the Blood Oath Life Scroll. His impression of Wu Ziheng immediately improved. Mo Qingyun stopped underestimating Wu Ziheng after gaining a better understanding of him. He comforted Qian Yuezi and the others. "Although Wu Ziheng is a little difficult to deal with, you don't have to worry. He won't be complacent for long." Qian Yuezi and the others were delighted when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They understood what Mo Qingyun meant. Chapter 2153. Since there's still some time left, let's rescue the Patriarch first. After discussing with Qian Yuzi and the others, Mo Qingyun recalled that the Qian Yu official was still locked up. He smiled and suggested, "How can the Patriarch not attend such an important event? In Mo Qingyun's eyes, Wu Ziheng wasn't the patriarch. He was just an ungrateful wretch. Then, I'll have to trouble Mr. Mo. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yuzi's expression immediately brightened. She became excited. As a daughter, how could she bear to see her father being locked up and tortured? The reason why she hadn't done anything was mainly because she was worried that it would anger Wu Ziheng. With Mo Qingyun's help, the situation was completely different. She didn't have to worry about Wu Ziheng being ruthless. At that time, even if Wu Ziheng was angry, Mo Qingyun would be able to suppress him. Miss Z, lead the way. After discussing with Qian Yuzi, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste time and immediately signaled to Qian Yuzi. Then, Qian Yuzi led Mo Qingyun to the cell where the Qian Yu official was locked up. The cell where the Qian Yu official was locked up wasn't far. It didn't take long for them to arrive. Perhaps because the Qian Yu official was very powerful, the cell where he was locked up was very tightly guarded. There were actually 3 intermediate Saint Realm experts there. The arrival of Mo Qingyun and the others immediately attracted the attention of these 3 people, and the 3 of them were drawn over. Madam, the Patriarch has specially instructed that no one is allowed to see the old Patriarch for the next 3 days. Seeing Qian Yuzi's arrival, one of the 3 people stopped them with a cold expression. There's only one Patriarch of the Qian Yu mansion. That's my father, the Qian Yu official. Seeing that her path was blocked, Qian Yuzi's pretty face turned cold. She scolded the other party and said, Wu Fanhen, I insist on seeing my father. Don't you dare stop me. After Qian Yuzi finished speaking, she didn't stop walking. She looked like she was going to force her way through. Wu Fanhen and the others seemed to have expected Qian Yuzi's actions. They sneered and said, Madam, we're just following orders. I hope you won't make things difficult for us. Otherwise, we can only offend you and hand you over to the Patriarch. As soon as Wu Fanhen's words left his mouth, he no longer hesitated and released his intermediate Sage Realm aura. Under the pressure of Wu Fanhen's aura, Qian Yuzi's body shook, and she was forced to retreat. Madam, I'm sorry. After forcing Qian Yuzi back with his aura, Wu Fanhen cupped his hands and turned to look at Mo Qingyun and the others. He scolded, What are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring Madam back. Seeing Wu Fanhen's actions, Qian Yuzi and the others frowned and looked at Mo Qingyun. Looking at their behavior, it seemed like they wanted Mo Qingyun to make the decision. They wanted Mo Qingyun to be the backbone of everything. Noticing the abnormal behavior of Qian Yuzi and the others, Wu Fanhen and the others also looked at Mo Qingyun. Immediately, they were very curious about Mo Qingyun's identity. Who was Mo Qingyun? How could Qian Yuzi and the others be so respectful to him? Since you're here to break out of the prison, why do you have to be so sneaky? Just kill your way in. Mo Qingyun grinned when he saw everyone looking at him. He didn't hide his intentions at all. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Yuzi and the others were shocked and excited. Domineering, too domineering. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Fanhen and the others were furious. They glared at Mo Qingyun and roared, Boy, you just said. Before Wu Fanhen could finish his words, a huge black palm came crashing down on him. Then, Wu Fanhen was enveloped by the huge black palm and was crushed to the ground. Boom! The huge black palm landed on the ground and immediately made a loud noise, stirring up a violent cloud of dust. Seeing this scene, the surroundings fell silent and everyone's eyes widened. Mr. Mo is really strong and domineering. Even if Wu Ziheng was in front of him, I'm afraid he would be left far behind. That saying is true. Those who are strong can do whatever they want, but those who are weak can only accept their fate. With Mr. Mo's help, we'll definitely be able to save the family head this time. After a short moment of shock, Qian Yuzi and the others were overjoyed and excited. Compared to the joy of Qian Yuzi and the others, the 2 people with Wu Fanhen were frowning. At this moment, they finally understood that Qian Yuzi had not come with good intentions. Wu Guori, immediately inform young Master Ziheng that an expert is here to break out of the prison. Mingchen, you can't stop him alone. Let's leave this place first. Okay, let's go. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, the two people with Wu Fanhen did not foolishly stay behind. After the two of them finished their discussion, they no longer hesitated and prepared to leave this place immediately. None of you can leave. Get back here. Seeing that Wu Guori and Wu Fanhen were about to escape, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and he raised his hand to grab them. Mo Qingyun stretched out his palm. Immediately, the power of creation on his palm surged and turned into two huge palm shadows. The two palm shadows formed and streaked across the sky, capturing Wu Guori and Wu Fanhen in the blink of an eye. Get back here. After capturing Wu Guori and Wu Fanhen, Mo Qingyun waved his arm and manipulated the palm shadows to pull them back. Then, under the control of the palm shadows, Wu Guori and Wu Fanhen fell heavily to the ground. Boom! 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 Two loud bangs were heard and two large pits appeared on the ground. The entire Thousand Moon Mansion shook. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, Wu Guori and Wu Fanhen were lying motionless on the ground like dead pigs. Seeing this scene, Qian Yuezi and the others trembled. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed again. They realized that they had underestimated Mo Qingyun's combat strength. He was much stronger than they had imagined. The battle earlier should have alerted Wu Ziheng. Let's go in and rescue them first. After dealing with Wu Fanhen's group of three, Mo Qingyun gave some instructions to the others and directly walked forward. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Qian Yuezi and the others quickly followed and entered the dungeon with Mo Qingyun. Although they encountered some obstacles in the process of entering the dungeon, Mo Qingyun broke through them all. The strength of these people was far inferior to Wu Fanhen and the other two. They could not even withstand a glance from Mo Qingyun. After a while, with Mo Qingyun opening the way, Qian Yuezi found the Thousand Moon Mansion. Father, I'm here to save you. Seeing the Thousand Moon Mansion in the cell, Qian Yuezi was excited and rushed to the Thousand Moon Mansion. Then, Qian Yuezi opened the cell door and rescued the Thousand Moon Mansion. She pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, Father, this is Mr. Mo and this is Miss Linglong. They are here to help us. With their help, the grand ancestral worship ceremony will go smoothly. The Thousand Moon Mansion looked in the direction Qian Yuezi was pointing at and saw Mo Qingyun. When he saw Qian Linglong, he was stunned. Chapter 2154. Holy Maiden, you're still alive. Recognizing Qian Linglong, the Thousand Moon official revealed an excited expression. He hurriedly knelt down and said, Thousand Moon official greets the Holy Maiden. Seeing the Thousand Moon official's actions, Qian Yuezi and the rest were stunned. They were quite shocked by the situation. They would never have thought that the person who suddenly came to help was the Holy Maiden of the 1,000 Illusions. This news came too suddenly. Of course, while they were shocked, their doubts were also solved. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and bow to the Holy Maiden. Seeing the reaction of Qian Yuezi and the rest, the Thousand Moon official was displeased and scolded them. Under the Thousand Moon official's scolding, Qian Yuezi and the rest did not dare to hesitate and immediately knelt down to Qian Linglong. Everyone, there's no need to be so courteous. Please get up. Seeing the actions of the Thousand Moon official and the rest, Qian Linglong quickly waved her hand at them and helped the Thousand Moon official up. Seeing the Thousand Moon official being helped up, Mo Qingyun scanned the surroundings and said, This is not the place to talk. Let's leave this place first and bring the Thousand Moon official's family head to recuperate. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's suggestion, Qian Yuezi and the rest nodded. They felt that Mo Qingyun's words were right. Just as everyone was about to leave, the Thousand Moon official's footsteps paused. He pointed to the other cells and said, These are the elders of the Thousand Moon Mansion. They were imprisoned here because they refused to submit to Wu Ziheng. Let's rescue them too. Okay. Hearing the Thousand Moon official's request, Mo Qingyun nodded and waved his hand at everyone. Under Mo Qingyun's wave, 81 ancient swords were immediately drawn out and slashed at the chains on those people. In a short while, the chains that trapped those people were broken by Mo Qingyun domineeringly. Seeing the 81 ancient swords under Mo Qingyun's control accurately cut through the elders' chains, the Thousand Moon official was shocked. What powerful control! After releasing the imprisoned elders, Mo Qingyun and the others did not waste any more time and immediately walked out of the dungeon. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that when they broke into the prison and rescued the Thousand Moon official, Wu Ziheng did not react at all. This situation surprised them greatly. Logically speaking, when Wu Ziheng learned that the Thousand Moon official had been rescued, he should have rushed over immediately. Although he was a little surprised, Mo Qingyun did not mind. Wu Ziheng's absence could save him some trouble. Not long after, everyone arrived at Qian Yuehong's residence and settled him down. As for the imprisoned elders, Qian Yuehong also arranged for people to find a place for them to recuperate. Master of Qian Weiguan, your injuries are not light. Let me help you stabilize your injuries. Qian Linglong walked to Qian Yu official's side when she saw his injuries and said, "Don't worry." Seeing Qian Linglong's actions, the Thousand Moon official was immediately flattered. He quickly waved his hand at Qian Linglong and said, "Holy Maiden, I am an old man. I don't have much time left. How can I trouble you to treat my injuries? As the Holy Maiden, I order you to sit down and receive treatment." Seeing the Thousand Moon official's reaction, Qian Linglong's pretty face turned serious and she immediately displayed a dignified aura. Seeing Qian Linglong's actions, the Thousand Moon official immediately showed a bitter expression and nodded at Qian Linglong. Since Qian Linglong had already said so, what else could he say? "All right, everyone can leave first." Seeing that Qian Linglong was going to treat the Thousand Moon official, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at everyone and sent them out of the room. Although everyone was sent out, Mo Qingyun did not leave. Instead, he took out the 9 cranes returning cauldron. Is he going to refine elixirs? Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the Thousand Moon official's expression froze. Doubt arose in his heart. Then, under the Thousand Moon official's gaze, Mo Qingyun took out various elixir ingredients. Taking out the alchemy materials one by one, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately began refining. He wanted to successfully refine the elixir before the grand ancestral worship and let the Thousand Moon official consume it to stabilize his injuries. Knowing that Mo Qingyun was going to refine elixirs, the Thousand Moon official no longer paid attention to Mo Qingyun and focused on healing his injuries. The rest of the time passed little by little like this. Thousand Moon Mansion, Conference Hall. As soon as Mo Qingyun and the others went to break the prison, Wu Ziheng received the news that someone was going to save the Thousand Moon official. However, when he sensed the battle over there, he gave up on stopping it. He knew that the person who attacked was very strong. With his strength alone, it would be difficult to stop the other party. If he acted rashly, he would only be in a passive position. Immediately, he gathered his subordinates to discuss how to deal with the Thousand Moon official. Everyone, the Thousand Moon official has been rescued by someone. A super expert is secretly helping him. Looking at the people in the hall, Wu Ziheng's expression was dark. He explained the situation and said, "Now that the experts of the Dark Demon clan are not here, we can only rely on ourselves to solve this problem. If there are no accidents, they will definitely hold the grand ancestral worship tomorrow. Do you have any good suggestions?" Hearing Wu Ziheng's words, the hall immediately quieted down. Everyone frowned. "Family head, I think the best defense is to take the initiative to attack and not give them a chance to breathe." "That's right." Now that the Thousand Moon official and the others have not recovered from their injuries, they are at their weakest. I don't think so. The strength of the person who helped the Thousand Moon official is unknown. If we act rashly, we will be in a passive position. I also think that we should wait for Lord Zirong to come back and discuss how to deal with the Thousand Moon official and the others. But when they hold the grand ancestral worship tomorrow, it will be difficult to deal with them. The people in the hall continued to argue. For a moment, no one could convince the other. Looking at the reaction of the people in the hall, Wu Ziheng frowned even more. He said to the old man beside him, "Father, how is the situation in Thousand Language City? Is there any news about Commander Zirong?" "Not yet." Hearing Wu Ziheng's question, Wu Fuqing shook his head and said worriedly, "Even if Commander Zirong receives the news, it will be too late by the time he comes back to help us. It seems that I can only take that path." Hearing Wu Fuqing's words, Wu Ziheng's face hardened. He seemed to have made a difficult decision. Wu Fuqing's expression immediately changed when he heard Wu Ziheng's words. He revealed a worried expression and said, "Ziheng, you have to think this through. If you fail, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. I have no other choice." Hearing Wu Fuqing's words, Wu Ziheng put on a solemn expression and rejected his suggestion. Then Wu Ziheng waved his hand at the crowd, indicating that they should leave. After dispersing everyone, Wu Ziheng did not hesitate and immediately returned to his residence. Chapter 2155. When Wu Ziheng summoned the blood sword, it emitted a bewitching blood-red light that shone on his face. Under the illumination of the blood-red light, Wu Ziheng's expression instantly became even more ferocious. "Kid, have you thought it through?" As the blood-red light pulsed, a human face emerged from it and looked at Wu Ziheng with a cold smile. Looking at the human face in the blood-red light, Wu Ziheng's expression hardened. He gritted his teeth and said, "I've already thought it through. I hope you will keep your promise. Once you find a suitable body, get out of my body. Don't worry. I, Chao Xiong, won't miss a body with an ordinary constitution." The other party agreed to Wu Ziheng's request without hesitation. He nodded at Wu Ziheng and said, "Cooperating with me is the best choice for you. It's much better than working for the Dark Demon race. Cut the crap. Come on." Without waiting for Chao Xiong to finish, Wu Ziheng impatiently urged him and slowly closed his eyes. Seeing Wu Ziheng's actions, Chao Xiong didn't waste any more words. His figure flashed and floated into Wu Ziheng's head. Then, a blood-red light appeared on Wu Ziheng's body and emitted a terrifying aura. Comfortable. Chao Xiong took over Wu Ziheng's body and stretched his arms freely. He smiled and said, "Kid, I'll have to trouble you for this period of time. Once I break through to the galaxy grade and leave the tree civilization realm, I'll go find a suitable body. We'll talk about the body later. For now, help me deal with a group of people." Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng's tone was displeased as he immediately demanded, "I can't fulfill your request now. You'll have to wait for some time." Chao Xiong shook his head and rejected Wu Ziheng's request. He said, "I've just taken over your body, so I need to familiarize myself with it. Also, the saint power in your body hasn't condensed into a saint power star cluster, so you can't unleash its true power. I have to condense it into a saint power star cluster." Saint power star cluster? What's that? Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng immediately grew suspicious and hurriedly asked Chao Xiong. Chao Xiong sneered at Wu Ziheng's question. Condensing Saint Force into a Saint Force nebula is a very basic usage technique. It allows it to have some characteristics of the galaxy and multiply its power when using supernatural powers. Since you knew all this, why didn't you tell me? After hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng immediately became furious and questioned Chao Xiong in dissatisfaction. Wu Ziheng's angry words made Chao Xiong feel somewhat dissatisfied. He said coldly, brat, watch your attitude. You don't have the right to criticize me on how I want to do things. Humph. Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng was immediately displeased. He snorted coldly and didn't say anything else. Chao Xiong didn't care too much about Wu Ziheng's dissatisfaction. He sat down cross-legged and started cultivating. As Chao Xiong began to cultivate, waves of terrifying blood-colored saint power gathered outside his body. As the blood-red saint energy gathered, it was compressed bit by bit and eventually turned into a cluster of stars. After the Saint Force Nebula formed, Chao Xiong quickly formed hand seals and compressed and refined them. As the Saint Force Nebula continued to be refined, the aura they emitted became more and more terrifying. So this is the Saint Force Nebula. It's indeed very powerful. Sensing the Saint Force Nebula's aura, Wu Ziheng was shocked and said in surprise, "Under Chao Xiong's continuous refinement, although the amount of Saint Force in my body has decreased, its purity and power have increased. Using this Saint Force to cast supernatural powers can increase the power by at least 5 times. After this discovery, Wu Ziheng was completely convinced by Chao Xiong and believed that Chao Xiong had an extraordinary background. This brat's Saint Force purity is too low. He's in the late-stage Saint realm, but he can only form 17 Saint Force Nebula. Chao Xiong was disappointed when he saw the results of his cultivation. He grumbled and said, "Under normal circumstances, an early-stage Saint Realm cultivator would be able to condense 10 Saint Energy star clusters when he reaches the pinnacle. An middle-stage Saint Realm cultivator can form 100 Saint Force Nebula when they reach the pinnacle. This brat is in the late-stage Saint Realm, but he can only form 17 Saint Force Nebula. He's too weak. Fortunately, people in this realm of low-level civilizations don't know how to form Saint Force Nebula. Otherwise, he'd really be useless." Thinking about the situation on the savage continent, Chao Xiong felt relieved and didn't continue to complain. Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng was immediately shocked and finally realized his own shortcomings. Chao Xiong had no idea what Wu Ziheng was thinking. After forming the Saint Force Nebula, he said, "This brat made a blood oath. It's troublesome to keep it. It's better to dissolve it first." As soon as Chao Xiong finished speaking, he controlled his soul power and triggered Wu Ziheng's blood oath. Are you crazy?" Sensing Chao Xiong's actions, Wu Ziheng immediately panicked and shouted angrily at Chao Xiong. Chao Xiong chose to ignore Wu Ziheng's panicked words and focused on resisting the punishment of the blood oath. Instantly, lightning strikes, flooding, burning, burying, and other punishments befell Chao Xiong. What was hard to believe was that Chao Xiong's body was strengthening bit by bit under the punishment of the blood oath. After a short while, the various punishments of the blood oath ended. After dealing with everything, Chao Xiong asked casually, "Brat, tell me who you want to deal with. I can help you take care of them now. If I'm not wrong, they'll definitely go to the Qianyue Mansion's ancestral tomb. We'll just wait there." Hearing Chao Xiong's question, Wu Ziheng was delighted and hurriedly told Chao Xiong. Soon, Chao Xiong gathered everyone and went to the Qianyue Mansion's ancestral tomb to wait. In Qianyue Hong's residence. Oh no, Wu Ziheng's blood oath has disappeared. Did he break through to the Sage Realm Great Perfection? As soon as Wu Ziheng's blood oath was removed, Qian Yuezi immediately sensed it. She was shocked and worried. In Qian Yuezi's opinion, if Wu Ziheng wanted to remove the blood oath, he would have to break through to the Sage Realm Great Perfection. After discovering this, Qian Yuezi didn't dare to delay and immediately went to report to Mo Qinyun. After a short while, Qian Yuezi arrived outside the Qianyue official's room and saw Qian Linglong waiting outside. After stabilizing the Qianyue official's injuries, Qian Linglong stopped and went to stand guard outside the room. "Saintess, something bad has happened." Seeing Qian Linglong outside the room, Qian Yuezi revealed a nervous expression and told her about Wu Ziheng. After hearing Qian Yuezi's words, Qian Linglong's face tensed up and her mind spun quickly. According to your description, Wu Ziheng just broke through to the Sage Realm Great Perfection. It's impossible for him to break through to the Sage Realm Great Perfection in such a short time. Then what's going on? Qian Yuezi felt that Qian Linglong's analysis made sense and asked in confusion. In her opinion, if this wasn't the reason, then what else could it be? After hearing Qian Yuezi's question, Qian Linglong frowned again and analyzed the situation. If he didn't break through to the Sage Realm, there's only one other possibility. If that's the case, then things are really bad. After hearing Qian Linglong's words, Qian Yuezi's expression tensed up even more. Her heart was in her throat. Don't worry. When Qing Yun comes out, we'll have a proper discussion. Qian Linglong comforted Qian Yuezi when she saw her tense expression. Then, she quietly waited for Mo Qingyun. Time passed by slowly. Several hours later, the door to the room was pulled open and Mo Qingyun walked out from inside. Qingyun, something has happened in the Qianyue mansion. I'm afraid the situation is not looking good. Seeing Mo Qingyun walk out of the room, Qian Linglong's face tensed up and she quickly reported to Mo Qingyun. Qian Linglong told him everything that Qian Yuezi had told her before without missing a single detail. In addition, Qian Linglong also told Mo Qingyun some of her guesses. There's a cultivator from a high-level plane behind Wu Ziheng? After hearing Qian Linglong's guess, Mo Qingyun was immediately shocked and his mood became heavy. He still remembered the strength of the three people from the Heavenly Mandate Tower. He still had some lingering fear. Although Wan Man and the other two were not at a high level, their combat power was surprisingly strong. Mo Qingyun had to use all his strength to defeat them. Now that Wu Ziheng's cultivation was stronger than Wan Man and the other two, it would be more difficult to deal with him. Moreover, there was an even more powerful existence behind Wu Ziheng. If your guess is right, this matter is indeed very troublesome. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and nodded at Qian Linglong. He then changed the topic and said, "No matter who the other party is, I will step over anyone who dares to obstruct you from reclaiming the 1,000 illusions." Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's face immediately lit up and she became excited. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, the door was opened again and the Qianyue official walked out. "Father, have you recovered from your injury?" Seeing the Qianyue official walk out of the room, Qian Yuezi's expression changed and she quickly checked on the Qianyue official's condition. Hearing Qian Yuezi's question, the Qianyue official shook his head and smiled. "I haven't completely recovered, but with the help of the Virgin and Mr. Mo, I've almost recovered. Basically, there's no major problem." Hearing the Qianyue official's words, Qian Yuezi's expression immediately relaxed and she thanked Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuezi. "It's getting late. I'll go to the ancestral tomb now and prepare to worship the ancestors." After chatting with Qian Yuezi, the Qianyue official did not want to waste time and said to Qian Yuezi. Chapter 2156. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the ancestral tomb and saw Chao Xiong and the others. When they saw the Thousand Moon official, Chao Xiong and the others sneered as if they'd caught prey on the hook. "Everyone, we've been waiting for a long time." Chao Xiong greeted Mo Qingyun and the others with a smile. He wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Those who didn't know what was going on would think he was greeting a good friend. "Please!" Before the Thousand Moon official and the others could respond, Chao Xiong made an inviting gesture. Seeing Chao Xiong's performance, the Thousand Moon official and the others looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Chao Xiong's current behavior was far too abnormal for them. They couldn't help but wonder if Chao Xiong's current actions were part of some scheme. Looking at the worried faces of the Thousand Moon official and the others, Chao Xiong smiled disdainfully and explained, "You don't need to worry too much. It's impossible for me to set up an ambush in such a short amount of time. Moreover, it's only disadvantageous for me to let you enter to worship the ancestors. What are you afraid of? The Thousand Moon official and the others nodded. They couldn't refute this point. Are you crazy? Wu Ziheng immediately panicked when he saw Chao Xiong's actions. He angrily rebuked Chao Xiong before continuing, if they summon their ancestors' remnant spirit, it will be extremely disadvantageous for us. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Hearing Wu Ziheng's words in his mind, Chao Xiong unhappily replied, I'm warning you one last time. When I do things in the future, don't tell me what to do. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite and sealing you in my sea of consciousness. Wu Ziheng immediately fell silent when he heard Chao Xiong's rebuke. He didn't dare continue to anger Chao Xiong. He knew full well that Chao Xiong was ruthless and would definitely do something like this. Seeing that Wu Ziheng had calmed down, Chao Xiong's mood improved a little. He comforted Wu Ziheng, you don't have to worry too much. The strength of the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestor was only at the early Paramount Saint stage when he was alive. Even if he was still alive, I'm 70% confident I can kill him with this level of cultivation and strength, let alone a mere remnant of his spirit. Under Chao Xiong's comforting words, Wu Ziheng didn't say anything else. It could be considered that he approved of Chao Xiong's actions. Seeing that Wu Ziheng didn't say anything, a cold smile appeared on Chao Xiong's face. Brat, killing people is nothing more than a nod of the head. Its true pleasure lies not in ending the lives of others, but in torturing them bit by bit, letting them slowly die in despair. Pervert! Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Wu Ziheng couldn't help but curse. He admitted that he couldn't do this. While Chao Xiong and Qian Yuezi were talking, Qian Yuezi saw Chao Xiong's action and immediately tensed up. She said, Father, Wu Ziheng definitely wouldn't be so kind. There must be some scheme. Hearing Qian Yuezi's reminder, the Thousand Moon Mansion showed a hesitant expression. He turned to look at Emo Qingyun and Chao Xiong. Seeing the Thousand Moon Mansion's look, Emo Qingyun narrowed his eyes slightly and carefully sized up Wu Ziheng. He found that the feeling Wu Ziheng gave him was very similar to the feeling of the three people from the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion. This way, the situation was a little bad. This Wu Ziheng was very difficult to deal with. It should be known that the cultivation of the three people from the Heavenly Mandate Pavilion was only at the middle stage of the Saint stage, while Wu Ziheng's cultivation was at the later stage of the Saint stage. The gap between the two was still very large. Emo Qingyun wasn't confident that he could kill or defeat Wu Ziheng in a fight. More importantly, Emo Qingyun was still unable to confirm whether or not Wu Ziheng had any powerhouses backing him up. This Wu Ziheng is not simple. Don't fall out with them yet. Let me observe for a while. After carefully observing Wu Ziheng, Emo Qingyun found that there was something unusual about him. He said to the Thousand Moon Mansion, Lord of the Thousand Moon Mansion, the time to worship the ancestors cannot be delayed. Let's go into the ancestral tomb first. We'll take it one step at a time and deal with whatever comes our way. Okay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's suggestion, the Thousand Moon Mansion nodded and led everyone into the ancestral tomb. Seeing the Thousand Moon Mansion's people enter the ancestral tomb, a middle-aged man beside Chao Xiong asked with a puzzled expression, Master, since the Thousand Moon Mansion's people are already here, why didn't you just kill them directly? Instead, you let them worship the ancestors? That kid is not simple. I can't see through him yet. Let me observe him first. Hearing the question, Chao Xiong raised his hand and pointed at Emo Qingyun. A trace of fear appeared on his face. Seeing Chao Xiong's action, everyone was puzzled. They all looked at Emo Qingyun. They couldn't see anything unusual about Emo Qingyun. He was clearly a junior in the Nine Heavens Xian, immortal realm. But since Chao Xiong said so, no one dared to question him. They believed that Chao Xiong's words made sense. After explaining to everyone, Chao Xiong didn't stay any longer and followed them into the ancestral tomb. Next, both sides had their own ulterior motives and were silently plotting against each other. Retreat. After entering the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb, Mo Qingyun removed the illusory formation and revealed the ancestral altar. Now that things had come to this, there was no point in hiding. It was better to worship the ancestors openly. These guys did a good job of keeping secrets. They set up the ancestral altar without anyone knowing. So that kid is a formation master. No wonder the Thousand Moon Mansion is so respectful to him. But that's all there is to it. No matter how good his formation master is, he's only in the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm. There's nothing to worry about. Seeing Mo Qingyun remove the formation, Wu Ziheng's subordinates looked at him with disdain. After removing the illusory formation, Mo Qingyun nodded at the Thousand Moon Mansion, indicating that they could start worshipping the ancestors. After hinting at the Thousand Moon Mansion, Mo Qingyun walked to the side to prevent Chao Xiong from doing anything untoward. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, the process of worshipping the ancestors went smoothly. Chao Xiong didn't interfere at all. About 2 hours later, dark clouds suddenly gathered in the sky above the Thousand Moon Mansion's ancestral tomb, producing a terrifying aura. After the aura appeared, it condensed into a human figure and floated in front of the Thousand Moon Mansion and the others. Greetings, Ancestor Tinghai. Seeing the shadow in front of them, the Thousand Moon Mansion and the others had a respectful expression and quickly bowed to the shadow. There's no need for formalities. Rise. Seeing the actions of the Thousand Moon Mansion and the others, the remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai waved his hand and said with a dignified expression, I can't stay for long. If you have any requests, quickly state them. Hearing Qian Yuetinghai's words, a hesitant expression appeared on Qian Yuetinghai's face. Glancing at Wu Ziheng, he gritted his teeth and said, Ancestor Tinghai, this person colluded with the Dark Devil race and killed our clansman. Please help us kill him and avenge our clansman. This is bad. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the Thousand Moon Mansion's actions. He had a bad feeling about this. The remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai wasn't particularly powerful. It was only on par with Zirong and the others. If it was an ordinary Mastery Saint Realm expert, the remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai could deal with him. However, Wu Ziheng wasn't an ordinary person. Mo Qingyun had a faint feeling that even ZK might not have been Wu Ziheng's match back then. If that was the case, it would be irrational to let the remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai take action. Mastery Saint Realm. The remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai's expression darkened when he sensed Chao Xiong's cultivation. Seeing the remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai looking at him, a cold smile appeared on Chao Xiong's lips. Thousand Moon official, it seems like you've really gone senile. Do you think a remnant spirit like him, struggling at death's door, can kill me? How dare you! The remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai shouted angrily when he saw Chao Xiong's arrogant attitude. He immediately charged at Chao Xiong. Chao Xiong grinned when he saw the remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai charging at him. A mocking sneer appeared on his face. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish and make you disappear completely. Great Sun Destroyer Sword. Chao Xiong flipped his palms. Blood-red saint energy immediately gathered in his palms and exploded with a terrifying aura. Chao Xiong waved his arms. Blood-red saint energy poured out and turned into blood-red swords in the blink of an eye. The blood-red swords formed and shot toward Thousand Moon Tinghai, blocking his escape route. So powerful! Thousand Moon Tinghai was shocked when he saw Chao Xiong's attack. He realized the gap between him and his opponent. Judging from the power of Chao Xiong's attack, even at his peak, he was probably only at this level. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw Chao Xiong's power. He looked nervous and worried. He said, Not good. The remnant spirit of Thousand Moon Tinghai is no match for Wu Ziheng. We must help him. Ghost Shadow / Evading Shadow. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed as he drew his sword. Then, 9 Mo Qingyun's doppelgangers slashed at the blood-red swords. Clang clang clang. Under the obstruction of Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers, the blood-red swords were broken one after another, resolving Thousand Moon Tinghai's crisis. Everyone was shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's attack. They were stunned by Mo Qingyun's performance. Is that kid really a 9 Heavens mysterious immortal? How could he block Master's attack? Even a late-stage Saint Realm expert wouldn't be able to block Master's attack unscathed. It seems that the person who saved the Thousand Moon official must be this young man. This kid hid his skills well. He used his identity as an array master to fool us. We were almost fooled by him. Wu Ziheng's subordinates were shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Chao Xiong was shocked when he saw that Mo Qingyun had neutralized his all-out attack. Mo Qingyun's performance really surprised him. Chao Xiong frowned and said in a low voice, "Since you were able to resist an attack of mine with your cultivation at the 9 Heavens mysterious immortal realm, then it looks like you're from a high-level plane as well. Why don't we join forces and rule this plane together in the future?" Chapter 2157. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I'm not from a higher realm. I'm just a small native. Seeing that Chao Xiong had misunderstood his origins, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and gave a simple explanation. After making his stance clear, Mo Qingyun turned to the Thousand Moon official and said, "Thousand Moon official, leave this person to me. You take care of the others." The Thousand Moon official's injuries hadn't healed, so he couldn't even use 70% of his strength. He couldn't pose a threat to Chao Xiong. Letting him join in wouldn't be of much use. It was better to let him deal with the others. At least he could suppress them in terms of cultivation level. All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's orders, the Thousand Moon official immediately nodded and went to deal with Wu Ziheng's subordinate. After giving the Thousand Moon official some instructions, Mo Qingyun turned to Thousand Moon Tinghai and said in a low voice, "Senior, in your current state, you can't fight head-on. You can just assist me from the side." "Then I'll have to trouble you, young friend." Thousand Moon Tinghai's remnant spirit responded after hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions. He sighed emotionally and said, "I didn't expect such a prodigy to appear among the heavenly soul demons. I wonder how much fortune he's accumulated." Thousand Moon Tinghai's remnant spirit sighed inwardly. He stopped hesitating and focused his mind. "Kid, since you don't know what's good for you, I'll just have to destroy you." Seeing that Mo Qingyun wasn't willing to cooperate, Chao Xiong's expression darkened, and he released a strong killing intent. He didn't think that Mo Qingyun was telling the truth. He just thought that Mo Qingyun wanted to reject him. After saying this coldly, Chao Xiong formed a hand seal and summoned a small blood-red sword. The moment this blood-red sword appeared, it exuded a terrifying aura, as if it could cut through heaven and earth. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed, and he immediately became vigilant. The strength of this person before him was even more terrifying than he'd imagined. A bunch of lowly ants. Now I'll show you the difference between you and a higher race. Summoning the blood sword, Chao Xiong sneered as he controlled the blood sword to attack Mo Qingyun and Jian Wushuang. Under Chao Xiong's control, the small blood-red sword immediately created several sword shadows, sealing off Mo Qingyun and the other man's path of retreat. What a powerful swordsmanship! It's even stronger than the War Martyr's 99 Heavenly Demon Godslayer sword formation. Mo Qingyun's expression froze as he watched the blood-red sword rapidly approach. He became even more fearful of Chao Xiong. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he did not dare to hesitate and immediately took out the 81 swords. 81 ancient swords were summoned and formed a sword formation to block the attacks of the blood-red sword shadows. Clang, clang, clang. When the ancient sword and the blood-red sword shadow collided, it immediately created a storm of energy and produced a crisp sound. At the same time, the blood-red sword shadow's attack was also blocked by the ancient sword. Not bad. Seeing that his attack had been blocked, Chao Xiong revealed a surprised expression. He said disdainfully, "Your sword formation may be powerful, but the grade of these 81 ancient swords is still a bit too low. They can't stop me." The blood-red sword was like a rainbow, breaking through the heavens and earth. Chao Xiong bit his index finger and forced out a drop of blood essence. He formed a seal with both hands and pointed at the small blood-red sword. The blood essence flew out of his finger and merged with the small blood-red sword, rapidly increasing its power. Instantly, the small blood-red sword's aura increased by several times. Those sword shadows also became solid as they crazily bombarded the 81 ancient swords. Clang, clang, clang. Under the attack of the blood-red sword shadows, the light on the 81 ancient swords immediately dimmed. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before the 81 ancient swords became scrap metal. Seeing the ancient swords being destroyed one after another, Mo Qingyun frowned and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The grade of these 81 ancient swords is indeed a bit too low. They can't be used to fight head-on. Mo Qingyun sighed and waved his arm, retrieving the 81 ancient swords. After dealing with the 1,000 illusions, I have to find a suitable time to refine the 81 ancient swords. After retrieving the 81 ancient swords, Mo Qingyun silently planned in his heart. He had no intention of abandoning them. As the 81 swords were retrieved, the blood-red sword shadows madly attacked Mo Qingyun and Chao Xiong. "Young friend Mo, be careful." Seeing the blood-red ancient swords attacking, the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit's expression trembled and hurriedly warned Mo Qingyun. After the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit's words, he no longer hesitated and immediately punched at the blood-red sword shadows. Soaring dragon cloud sky, overturning fist. When the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit punched out, Saint energy immediately gathered on his fist and turned into an ice-blue dragon shadow. When the dragon shadow was formed, it met the blood-red sword shadows head-on and blocked their attack. Crack, crack, crack. However, it didn't take long before cracks began to appear on the surface of the icy blue dragon shadow fist, as if an ice sculpture had cracked. Bang! Not long after, the dragon shadow fist burst apart and turned back into balls of Saint energy. Seeing this scene, the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit was shocked and said with an incredulous expression, How is this possible? He's just a late Saint realm expert. How can his combat strength be so strong? Even a perfect Saint realm expert is not as strong as him." While the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit was shocked, Mo Qingyun frowned and faintly found something wrong. He thought to himself, in the battle, the purity and degree of condensation of the Saint energy that he is using is several levels higher than the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit. It seems like the cultivation techniques in the higher planes are much stronger than the cultivation techniques in the wild continent. After Mo Qingyun understood the reason behind this, he no longer hesitated and once again joined the battle. In the current state of the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit, he could not fight for a long time, so Mo Qingyun had to share the burden. Heavenly Demon Star Splitting Palm. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of the thousand moon soaring sea remnant spirit. He decisively punched out. The rampaging fortune energy gathered on his palm and turned into a giant black palm in the blink of an eye. Mo Qingyun flipped his hand and the giant black palm was like a giant shield, colliding with the blood-red sword shadows. Bang, bang, bang. Under the intense collision, a series of noises could be heard from the surface of the huge black palm. At the same time, the blood-red sword shadows that collided with the giant black palm disintegrated one after another. In just a short while, Chao Xiong's all-out attack was once again neutralized by Emo Qingyun. Chao Xiong's face darkened when he saw his all-out attack being neutralized by Emo Qingyun again. He said, "Boy, I underestimated your combat strength. However, the battle should end now." As soon as Chao Xiong finished speaking, he formed a hand seal and activated the Thousand Moon Mansion's Great Protective Array. Seeing Chao Xiong's action, the Thousand Moon official and the others tensed up, and their faces turned pale. "Oh no," Wu Ziheng activated the Great Protective Array. "We're in a bad situation. The Great Protective Array's offensive power is comparable to a Mastery Saint stage expert. This is a disaster for us. Wu Ziheng, you despicable boy. If you're so capable, fight us head-on." The Thousand Moon official panicked when he saw the Great Protective Array being activated. He kept cursing Chao Xiong. When the Thousand Moon official and the others shouted angrily, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. He hurriedly said to the Thousand Moon official and the others, "Everyone, retreat with me immediately. I'll bring you to a safe place where we can avoid the attacks of the Thousand Moon Mansion's Great Protective Array." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he unleashed his full strength and continuously blocked the attacks of the Great Protective Array. When they heard Emo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Moon official and the others did not dare to hesitate. They immediately followed Emo Qingyun out of the ancestral tomb. Trying to escape? Do you think you can escape? When Chao Xiong saw that Emo Qingyun and the others were about to retreat, he smiled coldly and chased after Emo Qingyun and the others. When he saw Chao Xiong chasing after him, Emo Qingyun's expression tensed up. He felt an unprecedented sense of danger. Even when he was facing ZK and the others in the Shaman faction's ancestral tomb, he did not feel such danger. It could not be helped. Back then, he was the one who controlled the Great Protective Array in the Shaman faction's ancestral tomb. But now, the situation had been completely reversed. How could his situation be any better? This is not good. If this goes on, none of them will be able to escape. When he saw the situation Emo Qingyun and the others were in, the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit's expression tensed up. He was extremely worried. Then, the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. He said, "Little friend Emo, I'll cover your retreat. You take everyone and retreat immediately. The future of the Thousand Moon Mansion is in your hands." When the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately ignited the power of his Remnant Spirit. Then, the aura of the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit skyrocketed. In a short while, the strength of the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit skyrocketed to the Great Perfection Sage Realm. Ancestor. When the Thousand Moon official and the others saw the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit's actions, they immediately understood and felt a sense of grief and indignation. The Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit was igniting the last of his strength to escort them out of danger. This kind of action was too noble. He's a respectable person. When he saw the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit's actions, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with admiration. Then, his expression turned solemn as he said, "Senior, don't worry. I, Emo Qingyun, promise you that I'll definitely bring them out of here safely." When Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he led the Thousand Moon official and the others away to meet up with King Devourer and the others. "Thank you, little friend." When he heard Emo Qingyun's promise, the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit expressed his gratitude and rushed towards Chao Xiong. Looking at his posture, it seemed like he wanted to take Chao Xiong down with him, destroying jade and common stone alike. Boom! Not long after Emo Qingyun and the others left, a loud explosion was heard. It was the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit's self-destruction. When they heard that the Thousand Moon Soaring Sea Remnant Spirit had self-destructed, the Thousand Moon official and the others' hearts sank. Chapter 2158. Mr. Mo, Wu Ziheng has activated the protective formation. Can we really escape? Knowing the power of the protective formation, the Thousand Moon official couldn't help but worry as he retreated. Hearing the Thousand Moon official's words, the others' faces darkened as they had the same thought. Seeing the reactions of the Thousand Moon official and the others, Mo Qingyun's expression was solemn as he comforted them. Everyone, there's no need to be discouraged or worried. When I entered the Thousand Moon Mansion, I controlled a small part of the formation. As long as we enter that area, the protective formation won't be able to threaten us. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Thousand Moon official and the others' eyes lit up as their will to live was reignited. This news was too unexpected for them. Facing the impact of the Thousand Moon's soaring sea remnant spirit's self-destruction, Chao Xiong immediately bit his finger and forced out 9 drops of blood essence. Sword piercing the 9 heavens, destroying all techniques. The 9 drops of blood essence flew out of his finger and turned into 9 small blood-colored swords, blooming with sword chi light. The sword chi light bloomed and immediately turned into 9 shadows of sword chi, slashing down in all directions. Under the bombardment of the 9 shadows of sword chi, the storm caused by the self-destruction of the Thousand Moon's soaring sea remnant spirit was dispelled like a haze by the scorching sun. You can't escape. After dispelling the storm, Chao Xiong's figure flashed and turned into a stream of light as he chased after them. Chao Xiong's figure flashed a few times and caught up to Mo Qingyun and the others. He struck out a palm at Mo Qingyun and the others. A violent surge of saint power gathered in Chao Xiong's palm and condensed into blood-colored sword shadows. Seeing Chao Xiong quickly catching up to them, the Thousand Moon official and the others trembled as panic appeared on their faces. With their strength, if Chao Xiong caught up to them, they would only end up being slaughtered. Linglong, take everyone to meet up with the King Devourer. I'll cover your retreat. Seeing Chao Xiong's attack getting closer and closer, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he instructed Qian Linglong beside him. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's pretty face tensed up. Her eyes flashed with worry. She knew very well that with Mo Qingyun's strength alone, it would be very difficult for him to defeat Chao Xiong. Be careful. I'll bring them over and then come back to help you. Qian Linglong hesitated for a moment. Then, she bit her lip, turned around, and left with the Thousand Moon official and the others. Although she was worried about Mo Qingyun, she also knew that the Thousand Moon official and the others would be a burden if they stayed. Only by taking away the Thousand Moon official and the others could Mo Qingyun fight Chao Xiong to the death without any worries. Seeing that Qian Linglong and the others had left, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He flipped his palm and took out the tiger soul. Ghostly slash. Mo Qingyun took out the tiger soul and swung it at Chao Xiong. Immediately, 9 doppelgangers appeared. 9 doppelgangers appeared beside Mo Qingyun and blocked Chao Xiong's blood-colored sword with Mo Qingyun. Clang, clang, clang. Mo Qingyun and the doppelgangers shattered the blood-colored sword with a series of crisp clangs and powerful shockwaves. When the shockwaves exploded, the 9 doppelgangers all dissipated, revealing Mo Qingyun's true body. Seeing Mo Qingyun's true body appear, Chao Xiong's eyes flashed with mockery. He looked at Mo Qingyun with disdain. Kid, I admit that you're very capable. If we were at the same level, I might not be your mat. But your current level is too low. Mo Qingyun was silent at Chao Xiong's words. He didn't refute Chao Xiong's words. If he had the cultivation of the Saint Realm, even if Chao Xiong came from a higher realm, he could still easily kill him. In the end, his cultivation was too low, and he hadn't accumulated enough strength. Power! Thinking of his own lack of power, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but clench his fist. A strong sense of urgency welled up within him. If he had enough power, he wouldn't have had to wait all this time. He could have killed his way into the dark demon's lair. Since you're staying to die, I'll fulfill your wish. After mocking Mo Qingyun, Chao Xiong didn't waste any time and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Suddenly, 17 spots of light with monstrous auras appeared on Chao Xiong's body. Then, 17 terrifying bursts of saint power erupted from the spots of light and poured into the blood-colored dagger. Then, the aura of the small blood-red sword increased by several times. He's still hiding his strength. Seeing Chao Xiong's performance, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled. He was somewhat surprised. He had to admit that Chao Xiong was the most terrifying opponent he'd ever met since he started cultivating. Even in the ancestral tomb of the shaman clan, someone as powerful as ZK couldn't compare to Chao Xiong. Kid, die. After pouring the power of the 17 spots of light into the dagger, Chao Xiong pointed at Mo Qingyun. Then, the dagger shone brightly and formed a huge sword ray that slashed at Mo Qingyun. So powerful! Seeing the power of Chao Xiong's attack, Mo Qingyun was shocked. His expression immediately tensed up. The power of his attack had already surpassed the level of a Mastery Saint stage. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, Chao Xiong didn't flinch at all. Instead, he wore a determined expression. He knew that he couldn't dodge. The moment he dodged, the Thousand Moon official and the others behind him would be instantly killed by the sword. With Qian Yuezi and the others' strength, if they were hit by this attack, their souls would be destroyed. He had promised Qian Yutengai that he would protect the people of Thousand Moon Mansion with all his might. How could he back down now? Power of creation, Saint Demon Star Shattering Fist. Fire of civilization, Heavenly Demon Star Shattering Palm. Fire of civilization, Heavenly Sun Star Piercing Pupil. For a moment, Mo Qingyun used all of his superpowers without holding back. Fist rays, palm shadows, eye rays, and all kinds of superpowers blasted toward the sword ray. Seeing Mo Qingyun's full strength, Chao Xiong was shocked. Surprise appeared on his face as he said, That's the fire of civilization. This kid actually activated the fire of civilization. Could it be that he's the master of civilization of this realm? Chao Xiong noticed this and sneered. Kid, no wonder you weren't willing to work with me. So you're the master of civilization of this realm. But with your current strength, I'm afraid no one is willing to submit to you, right? Chao Xiong paused, and the viciousness on his face intensified. To be honest, I, Chao Xiong, have killed countless people in my life, but I've never killed a master of civilization. I really don't know how it feels to kill a master of civilization. It must be wonderful. After saying this, Chao Xiong's hands moved quickly, forming a series of strange hand seals. As soon as these handprints appeared, they flew into the small blood-red sword at an extremely fast speed, causing the small blood-red sword's aura to increase abruptly. Boom! At this moment, the sword ray, fist ray, palm shadow, and eye rays all clashed together. As the terrifying attacks collided, a shocking explosion sounded out, creating an apocalyptic storm of energy. In order to protect the people behind him, Mo Qingyun didn't choose to dodge or flee as the storm of energy approached him. Boom! The storm of energy slammed into Mo Qingyun's body, producing a terrifying force that made Mo Qingyun feel as if he had been struck by a continent. Then, Mo Qingyun felt his qi and blood roil. It was like a raging wave had been set off in his body. Puff! As his qi and blood roiled, Mo Qingyun's mouth leaked blood. His face paled. If it wasn't for his strong physical body, his soul would have been destroyed by the impact of this storm of strength. Even so, Mo Qingyun was heavily injured. He only had 70% of his strength left. What a strong body! He took the storm head-on and only suffered some light injuries. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Chao Xiong was shocked. Then, greed appeared in his eyes. This kid's body is stronger than some saint bodies. If I can take over his body, my strength will definitely surpass my previous life. Thinking of this, Chao Xiong became excited. He couldn't wait to attack Mo Qingyun. Brat, you won't be able to escape. Just surrender obediently. Chao Xiong's body turned into a stream of light. He arrived in a flash and grabbed at Emo Qingyun. As Chao Xiong waved his hand, a burst of saint power erupted from his palm and turned into sword shadows. When these sword shadows appeared, they blocked Emo Qingyun's path of retreat, forming a sword shadow prison. I can't escape. Looking at the rapidly approaching Chao Xiong, Emo Qingyun's expression tensed. He felt a sense of urgency. Although Emo Qingyun's heart was heavy, he didn't panic. His heart was still as calm as ever. Fire of civilization, Imperial Seal killing spirit eye. Looking at Chao Xiong, who was close at hand, Emo Qingyun's eyes flashed. A beam of light shot out from his left eye. Then, a terrifying wave of heat blasted out from Emo Qingyun's left eye, forming a flame mark. Once the flame mark formed, it disappeared in a flash and blasted into Chao Xiong's mind. Chao Xiong didn't expect Emo Qingyun to have such a powerful trump card at a time like this. Caught off guard, Chao Xiong's mind was heavily injured. He couldn't help but cry out in pain. Then, his attack on Emo Qingyun paused. Ghost Shadow Slash. After winning with one strike, Emo Qingyun didn't hesitate at all. He immediately swung Tiger Soul at Chao Xiong. To Emo Qingyun, the best defense was offense. He couldn't let go of such a good opportunity to counterattack. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed. Immediately, 9 afterimages appeared and attacked Chao Xiong together. Although Chao Xiong's mind was heavily injured, his consciousness still had a trace of clarity. He immediately noticed Emo Qingyun's attack. Seeing Emo Qingyun approaching, Chao Xiong's expression immediately twisted. He gnashed his teeth and roared, "Kid, you're courting death." Chapter 2159. Great Silence Godslayer Sword. Chao Xiong struck out with his palm. A dark light flashed on his palm as saint power gathered wildly. In a short moment, the sinister saint power transformed into a huge black blood sword. The huge black blood sword shot out from Chao Xiong's palm and slashed toward Emo Qingyun and the doppelgangers. Under the attack of the black blood sword, the 6 doppelgangers were instantly destroyed and turned into waves of creation power. When the 6 doppelgangers were destroyed, Emo Qingyun and the remaining 3 doppelgangers came to Chao Xiong's side. Puff, puff, puff. Emo Qingyun came to Chao Xiong's side, and the blade light from the doppelgangers landed on Chao Xiong's body. Then, Chao Xiong's body flew backward and landed heavily on the ground. After being heavily injured by Emo Qingyun again, Chao Xiong spat out a mouthful of blood and his face paled. When Emo Qingyun sent Chao Xiong flying, Qian Linglong and the King Devourer rushed over and stopped by Emo Qingyun's side. 2 advanced Saint Realm experts. Seeing Qian Linglong and the King Devourer arrive, Chao Xiong's expression immediately turned grave. He didn't dare attack Emo Qingyun again. Now, he only had half of his peak strength left. It wasn't wise to continue fighting. In his current state, it would be difficult for him to deal with Emo Qingyun alone, let alone Emo Qingyun and the other 2. "Kid, just you wait. You can't escape from me." After thinking through the pros and cons, Chao Xiong didn't want to stay any longer and left after throwing down a threat. He'd been careless this time. If they fought again, Emo Qingyun wouldn't be so lucky. Whoosh! Seeing Chao Xiong escape, Emo Qingyun let out a deep breath and didn't chase after him. He'd been able to injure Chao Xiong this time because Chao Xiong had been arrogant and didn't understand him. The next time they fought, the situation would not be so optimistic. It would be difficult to heavily injure Chao Xiong. After all, if they fought again, Chao Xiong would definitely be on guard against his eyes and not give him a chance to sneak attack. "Has everyone settled down?" Emo Qingyun calmed himself down and turned to Qian Linglong to ask about everyone's situation. "Yes." When Qian Linglong heard Emo Qingyun's question, she nodded and said, "Settle down the people of the Thousand Moon Mansion. We were worried about your safety, so we rushed over. How are your injuries? It's fine. Hearing Qian Linglong's question, Emo Qingyun shook his head and turned around. Let's go back first. I need to hurry up and recover. If nothing unexpected happens, once Chao Xiong recovers, he will definitely attack again. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he took the lead and flew forward to meet up with the Thousand Moon official and the others. After a while, Emo Qingyun met up with the Thousand Moon official and the others and arrived at the courtyard where the Thousand Moon official was temporarily staying. Mr. Emo, what's the situation? Has Chao Xiong been defeated? Seeing Emo Qingyun in the courtyard, the Thousand Moon official had a nervous expression and hurriedly asked Emo Qingyun. Hearing the Thousand Moon official's question, the surrounding people of the Thousand Moon Mansion all looked at Emo Qingyun nervously. Under everyone's nervous gazes, Emo Qingyun nodded and said with a solemn expression, Chao Xiong was injured by me because of his carelessness during our fight. He probably won't attack again for a while. Take advantage of this time and quickly move the other people here. I'll go now. Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Yuehong did not dare to delay and immediately went to make the arrangements. He was very clear about the meaning of Emo Qingyun's words. Emo Qingyun wanted them to do this to prevent the other people of the Thousand Moon Mansion from being captured by Chao Xiong and used to threaten everyone. Mr. Emo, you're injured? The Thousand Moon official and Emo Qingyun exchanged a few words. He noticed that something was wrong with Emo Qingyun and asked with a nervous and concerned expression, How are your injuries? Are they serious? They're not serious. Emo Qingyun waved his hand and gestured for everyone not to worry. He said, I need to go into seclusion to heal my injuries. Before I come out, don't fight with Chao Xiong. Okay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, the Thousand Moon official immediately nodded and noted down Emo Qingyun's words. He knew that without Emo Qingyun's help, with their strength, they would only end up being slaughtered by Chao Xiong. After instructing the Thousand Moon official and the others, Emo Qingyun did not waste any more time. He walked into a room to heal his injuries. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had entered the room, Qian Linglong and the King Devourer stood guard outside the room for Emo Qingyun. As for Yin Peng and the other two, they were still breaking the array and trying to take control of the Thousand Moon Mansion's protective array as quickly as possible. In the following time, the other people of the Thousand Moon Mansion were transferred over one after another. Although there were some obstacles along the way, they managed to get through them without any mishap. After a few hours, with Qian Yuehong and the others moving with all their might, all the people were transferred over. The Thousand Moon official and the others could finally relax when they saw all of their clansmen moving over. Then, the Thousand Moon official and the others patiently waited for Emo Qingyun to finish healing his injuries. In the small room, wisps of pure medicinal energy were extracted from the medicinal crystals and were absorbed into Emo Qingyun's body. When the medicinal energy entered Emo Qingyun's body, it seeped into his meridians and nourished his internal organs. Gradually, Emo Qingyun's injuries began to heal. As Emo Qingyun's injuries healed, the aura that he exuded continued to rise. Just like that, Emo Qingyun cultivated for 5 consecutive days. Finally, his injuries were completely healed. After 5 days of continuous cultivation, Emo Qingyun's aura was obviously much stronger than before. Peak of the 9 Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm. After withdrawing from his cultivation, Emo Qingyun sensed his cultivation and a look of surprise appeared on his face. He didn't expect that in these 5 days of cultivation and recuperation, his cultivation would actually improve by leaps and bounds. With my current state, I can already break through to the 2nd level of the 9 Heavens Xian, Immortal Realm. After sensing his current state, Emo Qingyun's face flashed with anticipation. He could not wait to break through. However, when he thought of his current situation, his expression dimmed and he could not help but sigh. With the current situation, it's impossible to break through. Looks like I can only wait until Wu Ziheng is dealt with. There was no other way. If Chao Xiong suddenly attacked while he was breaking through, it would be troublesome. Although the Thousand-Language Mansion's defensive formation was powerful, it could not suppress Chao Xiong and prevent him from attacking. Although I can't break through, I can still stabilize my cultivation before Wu Ziheng attacks. Emo Qingyun pondered for a moment. Then, he entered into cultivation again and condensed his immortal spiritual energy. Chapter 2160. If I were to refine my immortal spiritual power and creation power to Wu Ziheng's level, my combat strength would definitely increase greatly. While Emo Qingyun was condensing his immortal spiritual energy, an idea suddenly flashed through his mind, and he had a bold idea. As soon as this idea appeared in his mind, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately tried it out. Under Emo Qingyun's refinement, the purity of his immortal spiritual power and creation power started to increase bit by bit. However, the extent of the increase disappointed Emo Qingyun. The change wasn't particularly big. After all, he had already refined the immortal spiritual energy and the power of creation during his usual cultivation. No, Wu Ziheng's method of refining his saint power is definitely not the same as mine. Seeing the progress of his cultivation, Emo Qingyun quickly concluded that his cultivation method was wrong. Realizing that his method was wrong, Emo Qingyun didn't waste any more time refining his immortal spiritual power and creation power. Where exactly is the problem? Emo Qingyun had a pensive look on his face. His mind spun quickly as he tried to find the reason behind this. At this moment, while Emo Qingyun was thinking, the Qianyu official rushed out of the house and reported to Qian Linglong and the Qianyu official, Holy Maiden, something bad has happened. Wu Ziheng has brought people here. The protective array can no longer stop him. Hearing the Thousand Moon official's report, Qian Linglong frowned and hesitated whether she should tell Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun's cultivation hadn't ended yet. She didn't know if Emo Qingyun's injuries had healed yet. What if Emo Qingyun's injuries hadn't healed and he was still recuperating? Wouldn't it be bad if she disturbed him? Seeing Qian Linglong's expression, the King Devourer guessed her thoughts and said, "Mistress, don't worry. Master has already sent me a voice transmission. His injuries have already healed." Good. After learning about Emo Qingyun's situation, Qian Linglong relaxed and told Emo Qingyun about Chao Xiong's attack. After hearing Qian Linglong's message, Emo Qingyun stopped pondering. He got up and walked out of the room. Let's go. Since Wu Ziheng and the others are here, let's go meet them. Emo Qingyun arrived outside the house and informed Qian Linglong and the others. Then, he strode forward. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Qian Linglong and the others did not hesitate and quickly followed behind Emo Qingyun. Before long, Emo Qingyun arrived in front of Chao Xiong's group, escorted by the crowd. Seeing Emo Qingyun not far away, Chao Xiong's expression darkened. He coldly said, "Last time, this old man was careless and allowed you to luckily injure me. You won't have another chance this time." Hearing Chao Xiong's words, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up. He nonchalantly retorted, "My apologies. Last time, when I fought you, I was also careless and allowed you to injure me." What a sharp tongue! Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Chao Xiong's face darkened and his aura rapidly rose. At the same time, terrifying specks of light blossomed from Chao Xiong's body. Before long, the number of specks of light reached 22, 5 more than last time. Seeing the increase in specks of light, Emo Qingyun's expression shook and his heart sank. When he fought with Chao Xiong last time, he could already tell that these specks of light were the manifestation of Chao Xiong's strength. 22 specks of light. Emo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly. He lightly bit his lips and guessed, If nothing goes wrong, Wu Ziheng's current strength might be 20% stronger than before. Now, he's even harder to deal with. Just as Mo Qingyun's heart sank, Chao Xiong guessed his thoughts. With a smug sneer, he said, "Kid, to be honest, this old man has to thank you properly. If it weren't for the fact that I was heavily injured by you last time, my cultivation wouldn't have improved." As expected, hearing Chao Xiong's words, Mo Qingyun's guess was confirmed. After not seeing him for a few days, Chao Xiong's strength had indeed improved. Knowing that Chao Xiong's strength had increased, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He said to Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong beside him, "Wu Ziheng's strength is even stronger than before. In the next fight, don't go head-to-head with him. Try to find out how he condenses his saint power." In Mo Qingyun's opinion, it would be much easier to deal with Chao Xiong if they found out how he condensed his saint power. If Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong used this method to condense the saint power in their bodies, their combat strength would at least double. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong immediately nodded. They understood what Mo Qingyun meant. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, Chao Xiong pointed his finger and summoned the blood-red dagger. The Great Silence Sword. Chao Xiong summoned his natal blood sword. He bit his finger and forced a drop of essence blood into the blood sword. Instantly, the blood-red dagger's light shone brightly. It blossomed into a huge blood-red sword light. Once the blood-red sword light was formed, it slashed toward Mo Qingyun and the others with an indestructible stance. "All of you back off." In the face of Chao Xiong's attack, Mo Qingyun instructed the two girls and charged toward the blood-red sword light. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he struck out with his palm. Terrifying flames surged on his palm. A huge flaming palm blasted out from Mo Qingyun's hand toward the blood-red sword light. Bam! The blood-red sword light and the black palm collided. A loud sound immediately rang out, creating a destructive shockwave. Seeing the shockwave sweeping toward them, Mo Qingyun and the others all retreated, escaping the shockwave's area of effect. Crack, crack, crack. As the shockwave raged, cracks appeared on the blood-red sword light and the black palm. Soon, the blood-red sword light and the black palm collapsed and slowly dissipated into the air. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had withstood his all-out attack, Chao Xiong's expression was slightly shocked. "Kid, I didn't expect your strength to increase so much in just a few days. This is a bit surprising, but it's still useless." As soon as Chao Xiong finished speaking, he pointed his right index and middle finger at the blood-red dagger in front of him. Then, the blood-red dagger shone brightly again, creating numerous blood-red sword shadows that formed a powerful sword formation. Then, the blood-red sword shadows covered the sky and bombarded Mo Qingyun and the others. "Devour heaven and earth. 1,000 floating flowers." Facing the blood-red sword shadows, Qian Linglong and the heaven-devouring Dragon Emperor didn't hesitate. They immediately attacked the sword formation. Shadow Dragon Transformation. When Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong attacked, Mo Qingyun let out an angry roar. His body expanded rapidly. Soon, Mo Qingyun turned into a shadow dragon. His aura skyrocketed. Fire of Civilization, Saint Demon Star Shattering Fist. Mo Qingyun turned into a shadow dragon. He clenched his dragon claws and punched at the blood-red sword shadows. A fist shadow that was like a blazing sun blasted out from Mo Qingyun's fist and blocked the blood-red sword shadow. Clang, 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 the blood-red sword shadows slammed into the fist-like shadow. Immediately, cracks appeared on the fist-like shadow. Soon, the fist-like shadow was defeated. It turned into a ball of fire of civilization and slowly dissipated into the air. Seeing that his all-out attack had rendered Mo Qingyun and the others powerless, Chao Xiong's sneer deepened. "Kid, it's useless to resist. You should just surrender. Wu Ziheng's strength has reached the level of saint perfection. With my current strength, I can't stop him at all." Emo Qingyun's expression tightened when he saw the strength Chao Xiong had displayed. His mind spun rapidly as he thought, if we continue fighting, we'll be killed one by one. The only way to change the current situation is for me to break through. I'll do it. With that thought, Emo Qingyun clenched his teeth and made a difficult decision. Although it was very dangerous to break through in this situation, he had no other choice. Linglong, King Devourer, hold him back for a moment. After instructing the two women, Emo Qingyun retreated from the battlefield and flew to the side to break through. Qingyun is going to break through. The two of us will hold him back. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Qian Linglong's pretty face tensed. She immediately instructed the King Devourer. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, the King Devourer immediately understood. A look of determination appeared on his face. Back in the shaman faction's ancestral tomb, Emo Qingyun had risked his life to protect her. Now that Emo Qingyun was in danger, it was time for her to repay him. She had to protect him even if she had to give up her life. Immediately, Qian Linglong and the King Devourer used all their strength to hold back Chao Xiong. Although Chao Xiong was held back by the two women's desperate attacks, the situation couldn't be maintained for long. Mr. Mo. He's breaking through. He's crazy. Young Master Mo, we have no other choice. Only in this way can we have the strength to fight. Mr. Mo is doing this to protect us. Everyone, we must protect him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, the Thousand Moon official and the others were shocked, but they all looked determined. Immediately, everyone began to fight with their lives to protect Emo Qingyun from breaking through. Holy Lady, let me help you. Seeing the situation before him, the Thousand Moon official ignored his injuries and immediately went to help Qian Linglong and the other woman. With the Thousand Moon official joining the battle, the pressure on Qian Linglong and the other woman lessened. However, they still couldn't suppress Chao Xiong. With Chao Xiong's terrifying battle strength, it was only a matter of time before Qian Linglong and the other two were defeated. Qian Linglong and the others couldn't do anything about this situation. All they could do now was try their best to stall for time until Emo Qingyun broke through. As Emo Qingyun tried to break through, he abandoned all distracting thoughts and focused on channeling his immortal spiritual force to break through the barrier. Outer realm, inner realm? What's the difference in cultivation? Just as he was about to break through to the next realm, a flash of inspiration suddenly appeared in his mind, and he came to a complete realization. Chapter 2161. The inner realm is just an ordinary continent, while the outer realm has an endless galaxy. Emo Qingyun found his train of thought. The more he thought about it, the more he realized the difference between the two. Suddenly, Emo Qingyun's body shook as if he had been struck by lightning. Galaxy? Astral power? I understand now. So that's how it is. Emo Qingyun's heart raced as he got excited. He had discovered a shocking secret. If I'm not mistaken, the cultivation method of the wasteland continent has already gone in the wrong direction after the golden immortal realm. If he hadn't seen Chao Xiong and the others, Emo Qingyun wouldn't have realized that something was wrong. However, after seeing Chao Xiong and the others, he realized that something was wrong. His previous cultivation had already gone astray. If he continued to cultivate like this, his cultivation would definitely reach a bottleneck and he wouldn't be able to advance to a higher level. This was probably why there hadn't been any galaxy-grade powerhouses on the wasteland continent. Of course, Emo Qingyun didn't have complete confidence that this was the case. Success or failure will depend on this. After Emo Qingyun calmed himself down, he sent his consciousness out of his body and directly soared beyond the 9 heavens. As Emo Qingyun's consciousness wandered out of the wasteland continent, he immediately discovered that many stars had appeared within his sensing range. When Emo Qingyun discovered these stars, He observed the circulation of their power and tried to condense his immortal spiritual power like this. As Mo Qingyun condensed his immortal spiritual power quickly gathered and slowly turned into a ball of light. However, at the final stage of the condensation, he encountered some obstacles and couldn't reach Chao Xiong's level. It's still lacking a little. Could it be because of my cultivation level? Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw that the condensation of his immortal spiritual power was hindered. Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling puzzled, a familiar yet unfamiliar power suddenly emerged in his body. This is the power of the creation gate. Sensing this mysterious power, Mo Qingyun's heart shook, and a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. Ever since the gate of destinies shattered and merged with his body, there had been no obvious changes. Who would have thought that it would suddenly grow in his body and help him condense star clusters? With the help of the Gate of Fortune, the immortal spiritual energy that was obstructing the condensation of the immortal spiritual energy disappeared without a trace. Not long after, a star cluster was condensed, and the aura it exuded increased by several times. Success! Mo Qingyun's expression changed as he sensed the completed star cluster in his body. His expression became excited. He had succeeded. This meant that his deduction was correct. Although he thought so just now, he had not tested it after all, so he did not have absolute confidence that it would succeed. With the results of this condensation, it was clear that his previous conjecture was correct. Luckily, I have the help of the Gate of Fortune. Otherwise, I might not have succeeded on my first try. Thinking about the process just now, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh and feel lucky. If not for the help of the Gate of Fortune, his attempt might not have succeeded. Seeing that the first star cluster was condensed, Mo Qingyun could not wait to condense the second star cluster. With the help of the Gate of Fortune, the condensation of the second star cluster was very smooth, and it was condensed successfully in a short while. Following the successful condensation of the second star cluster, Mo Qingyun's cultivation also broke through to the second level of the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm. Mo Qingyun's cultivation caused a great commotion, so Chao Xiong sensed it as soon as his cultivation broke through. Star cluster. Seeing the two spots of light outside Mo Qingyun's body, Chao Xiong was immediately shocked. His eyes widened as he exclaimed, Impossible. He's only a Nine Heavens Xian immortal. How can he condense a star cluster? Mo Qingyun's current performance was too inconceivable to Chao Xiong. Qingyun succeeded. Seeing Chao Xiong's shocked expression, Qian Linglong's face lit up, and a brilliant smile appeared on her face. The man she had her eyes on was indeed not an ordinary person. Master succeeded. His talent can't be judged by common sense. Mr. Mo has broken through. We're saved. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, King Devourer and Qian Yu official were also excited. While Qian Linglong and the others were overjoyed, Chao Xiong's expression turned ugly. He gnashed his teeth in anger and said, Brat, no matter how you succeeded, you can't change your fate. All of you will die today. As soon as Chao Xiong finished speaking, his attacks became even more ruthless, causing Qian Linglong and the others to be surrounded by danger. Mo Qingyun knew nothing about the situation Qian Linglong and the others were in. He was still immersed in his cultivation. After successfully condensing the second star cluster, Mo Qingyun tried to condense the third, but the result disappointed him. No matter how hard he tried, he could not condense any more star clusters. It was as if this was his limit. That's right. If I can't condense immortal spiritual power anymore, can I condense the power of creation? Seeing that he could no longer condense immortal spiritual power, Mo Qingyun's mind spun, and he had a bold idea. With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately tried it out. What made Mo Qingyun happy was that the process of condensing the power of creation into a star cluster was unusually smooth. After successfully condensing the first star cluster, Mo Qingyun did not pause at all. He immediately started to condense the second one. Similarly, after condensing the second star cluster, he could no longer condense any more. It seems that the number of star clusters I can condense has reached the limit. If I want to condense more, I'll have to break through to the next level. After thinking this through, Mo Qingyun stopped condensing and withdrew from his cultivation. Just as he came out of his cultivation, Mo Qingyun saw Qian Linglong and the others being sent flying by Chao Xiong's attack. Linglong, King Devourer, family head Qianyu. Seeing Qian Linglong and the others being sent flying, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately flew towards them. As Mo Qingyun's body flew, he quickly waved his palms and released a gentle force. With the support of Mo Qingyun's palm, Qian Linglong and the others stabilized their bodies. Their faces were a little pale. In addition, there was a trace of blood at the corner of their mouth. Clearly, they were injured by Chao Xiong's attack. Qingyun, you're done with your cultivation. Standing beside Mo Qingyun, Qian Linglong revealed a surprised smile, as if she had forgotten about her injuries. Hearing Qian Linglong's question, Mo Qingyun nodded at her and said, "You guys go and treat your injuries first. Leave this to me. We'll talk about the rest after I've dealt with him." Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong nodded in response and went to treat her injuries with the King Devourer. Seeing that Qian Linglong and the others had gone to treat their injuries, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Chao Xiong with a faint smile and said, "I really have to thank you this time. If it weren't for the fight with you, I wouldn't have known that my cultivation had gone astray from the golden celestial stage." Humph! Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chao Xiong snorted and his face turned cold. He shouted, "Kid, don't be too proud. Even if you've mastered the method of condensing star clusters, you'll still die today." "I don't think so." Hearing Chao Xiong's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile. His eyes flashed with anticipation as he said, "I've just made a breakthrough in my cultivation and am lacking a sparring partner. I'll have to trouble you." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a strong battle intent exploded from his body. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he took the initiative to attack Chao Xiong. Fire of Civilization, Demonic Star-Splitting Palm. In a few flashes, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Chao Xiong and slammed his palm down. Powerful immortal spiritual power mixed with terrifying flame energy quickly condensed into a giant flaming palm. The giant flaming palm smashed down toward Chao Xiong with an aura that could incinerate heaven and earth. So strong. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's palm, Chao Xiong's expression immediately became tense and shocked. He said in shock, How is this possible? He's only broken through a small level and condensed 4 star clusters. How did his strength increase so much? Great Silence Godslayer Sword. While Chao Xiong was shocked, he didn't hesitate at all and immediately controlled his Natal Blood Sword to counterattack. Under Chao Xiong's control, the Natal Blood Sword immediately bloomed with dazzling crimson light and created a powerful sword ray. The crimson sword ray formed and met the giant flaming palm head-on. It domineeringly slashed at the giant flaming palm. Boom! A loud sound rang out. Following that, a terrifying force that could destroy the heavens and the earth erupted in mid-air. Under the impact of this force, a small portion of the Thousand Moon Mansion's protective formation was instantly destroyed. Seeing this, Qian Yuehong and the others trembled, their faces pale with fright. They were certain that if they were caught in this storm, they would be instantly pulverized. As the terrifying storm spread, the giant flaming palm and crimson sword ray began to dissipate bit by bit. If one looked closely, the crimson sword ray dissipated slightly faster, which meant that Mo Qingyun had a slight advantage. Fire of civilization, imperial seal killing spirit eyes. Fire of civilization, heavenly sun piercing star eyes. After exchanging one blow with Chao Xiong, Mo Qingyun didn't hold back anymore and attacked Chao Xiong again. Two crimson flaming eye rays shot out of Mo Qingyun's eyes and transformed into two streaks of light. When the two streaks of light appeared again, they were already in front of Chao Xiong's eyes and headed for his head. I'm impossible. This can't be real. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had become as strong as him in less than 15 minutes, Chao Xiong couldn't accept this. While Chao Xiong was shocked, he also controlled his natal blood sword to block the two streaks of crimson light. What made Chao Xiong helpless was that he couldn't be sure if the light was a soul attack or the sword light was a physical attack. In his panic, the imperial seal-killing spirit eyes blasted into his sea of consciousness and furiously attacked his origin spirit. Attacked by the flame mark, Chao Xiong immediately screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. He said angrily, "Brat, just you wait. I won't let you go." After being injured by Mo Qingyun's attack, Chao Xiong immediately turned and fled, leaving behind a threat. Chapter 2162. Although Chao Xiong was injured, with Chao Xiong's powerful strength, Mo Qingyun could not catch up with him. Seeing Mo Qingyun coming, Qian Yuezi went to gather people to clean up the destroyed Qian Yu mansion. Fortunately, there was a protective array. Otherwise, the battle between Mo Qingyun and Qian Yuezi would have destroyed the entire Qian Yu mansion. Qian Yuezi and the others went to clean up the scene. Mo Qingyun sat down beside Qian Linglong and cultivated to stabilize his realm. Because of the emergency, he had no way to stabilize his realm. Now, he had to make up for it. Time passed little by little. Under Mo Qingyun's concentrated cultivation, his realm slowly stabilized, and his aura became stable. After stabilizing his realm, Mo Qingyun withdrew from cultivation and recalled the battle just now. I was able to defeat Wu Ziheng just now. There was still some luck involved. Wu Ziheng's control of his body seemed a little unnatural. With Mo Qingyun's perception, he could still see that Chao Xiong was a little abnormal in the battle. It seems that the current Wu Ziheng is not the Wu Ziheng of the past. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He immediately realized that something was wrong with Wu Ziheng. According to the description of Qian Yuezi and the others, the Wu Ziheng they spoke of did not have this kind of ability. Thinking of Wu Ziheng, who had escaped, and the three people of the Heavenly Mandate Tower, Mo Qingyun's expression became more serious. He thought to himself, it seems that there are still many cultivators from outside the wild continent. This pool of water is getting deeper and deeper. Mo Qingyun knew very well that there were still many secrets on the wild continent that he had not touched. They are all in the Saint Plane, but the strength of the Saint Plane cultivators from the outer realm is obviously much stronger than that of the inner realm. Thinking about the strength of Wu Ziheng, Wan Man, and the others, and then thinking about the strength of the Thousand Moon official and the others, Mo Qingyun came to a conclusion. If that's the case, then the Sage Realm experts on the wild continent can only be considered as false sages, and not true Sage Realm experts. In Mo Qingyun's mind, the definition of a Saint Powerhouse was an existence that had condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster. Those who had not condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster, no matter how powerful they were, could only be regarded as false saints. Even someone as strong as ZK could only be considered a powerful false saint. Mo Qingyun's mind became clear after such a definition. He now had a clear distinction between the Sage Realm expert. After stabilizing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and turned to look at Qian Linglong and Qian Linglong. Qian Linglong and the other girl were still cultivating, but their auras were much more stable. From the looks of it, they had basically recovered from their previous injuries. As expected, Mo Qingyun did not wait long before the two girls stopped cultivating. Perhaps the Thousand Moon official's injuries were too severe. He was still cultivating even after the two women had finished their cultivation. "How are your injuries?" Seeing that Qian Linglong and the other girl had finished their cultivation, Mo Qingyun asked them with concern. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong and the other girl shook their heads and smiled faintly. "Our injuries are no longer a problem. We just need to cultivate for a few more days and we will be completely healed." "That's good." Mo Qingyun nodded and felt completely relieved. He said in a deep voice, "When I was fighting with Wu Ziheng just now, I discovered the secret of his strength. Both of you, come with me. I will teach you how to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. If you succeed, your strength will increase by leaps and bounds." "Okay." Qian Linglong and the other girl nodded quickly and their eyes flashed with anticipation. They were also in the Mastery Sage realm. After seeing how powerful Chao Xiong was, it was impossible for them not to be excited. "Elder Qian Yuehong, we have something to do. I will leave this place to you." After discussing with Qian Linglong and the other girl, Mo Qingyun left with Qian Yuehong and the other girl. After a while, Mo Qingyun returned to his courtyard and began to teach the two girls how to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. Actually, the cultivation direction on the Wild Continent has deviated from the right track from the Golden Celestial Realm. Looking at the two girls in front of him, Mo Qingyun told them about his conjectures. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and the other girl were shocked and their emotions were in turmoil. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's words had a huge impact on them. Then, the two girls' expressions tensed up and they waited expectantly for Mo Qingyun to continue. As you can see, the experts from the outer realm are almost invincible in the same realm. For example, Wan Man, the other two girls, and Wu Ziheng. Under the two girls' expectant gazes, Mo Qingyun gave them an example of the situation that he had encountered before and said, "Actually, the reason why Wu Ziheng and the others are so powerful is that they have borrowed the power of the planet and condensed the Saint Power in their bodies into the Saint Power Star Cluster." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong was shocked and felt that her understanding had been shattered. They had never heard of such a subversive view of cultivation before. "Okay, now you two try to condense the Saint Power in your bodies according to what I said." After telling the two girls some information about the Saint Power Star Cluster, Mo Qingyun guided them to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. Under Mo Qingyun's guidance, Qian Linglong and the other girl immediately focused and condensed the Saint Power in their bodies. Qian Linglong and the other girl condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster very smoothly at first, but they stopped at the last step. The situation that they were in was exactly the same as what Mo Qingyun had encountered before. "It seems that my method of condensing is not completely correct." Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw Qian Linglong and the other girl's situation. He immediately realized where the problem was. After knowing the situation of the two girls, Mo Qingyun did not ask them to stop. Instead, he tried to activate the power of the Gate of Creation. If he could activate the power of creation, perhaps he could use the Gate of Creation to help the two girls successfully condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, a familiar, mysterious power quickly emerged from his body. Success! Sensing the power of the Gate of Creation in his body, Mo Qingyun was delighted and immediately pressed his hands on the backs of the two girls. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun transferred the power of the Gate of Creation into the two girls' bodies to help them condense the Saint Power Star Cluster. With the help of the power of the Gate of Creation, the obstacles of the two girls condensing the Saint Power Star Cluster were immediately cleared. After about an hour, Qian Linglong and the King Devourer had successfully condensed a Saint Power Star Cluster in their bodies. "It's done." Seeing that the two girls had successfully condensed the Saint Power Star Cluster, Mo Qingyun was delighted and a bright smile appeared on his face. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and continued to help the two girls condense the Saint Power star cluster. A few hours later, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing. His face was pale and he looked exhausted. Helping the two women condense 5 Saint Power star clusters had drained his mind to the extreme, causing him to feel drowsy. Qingyun, what's wrong with you? Master, you've exhausted too much of your mind. Quickly rest and recover. Seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, the two girls were concerned and quickly persuaded Mo Qingyun. I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. Don't worry. Mo Qingyun waved his hand and smiled at the two girls. He said, it seems that although I can help people condense the Saint Power star cluster with the power of the Gate of Creation, it's not without limitations. It requires a lot of mind and time. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong's children nodded continuously. They knew what Mo Qingyun was thinking. If that's the case, I'm afraid it's impossible to help more people condense the Saint Power star cluster. What a pity! Originally, Mo Qingyun was thinking of using the power of the Gate of Creation to help Udihai and the others condense the Saint Power star cluster. Now, it seemed that his plan was going to fall through.